How's it going, everybody? And just want to say hi to everybody watching, and especially want to say thank you to a special guest Snoozy for coming on because I've really enjoyed a lot of your videos on YouTube, and especially your book rereads. So, uh, been looking to talk to you for a while, and I'm glad we could finally hook up for this. Um, bad looks like. Uh, can you hear me?
Hello, yes, I can hear you, man.
Perfect. Sorry, the interwebs are bad. I don't know if it's up here or down there, but either way, glad it's working out. So I guess I wanted to have you on because you know a couple of us on the White Cloaks actually have been really enjoying your book rereads. So I guess for those that are
Appreciate
sort
it.
of uninitiated, um, tell us sort of what was your journey into the Wheel of Time franchise?
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good question. um, so I guess what's it called when it comes to books in general, I'm very new to the whole genre and pretty much the whole hobby, man. I started reading like 2 years ago. I started off with Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson.
Okay.
That was my
Yep.
first ever series I got into. I read that series like the first three books, and then I decided to take a massive break from like reading in general. I focused on
Mhm.
like anime, One Piece, and all that stuff until I randomly decided to react to the Wheel of Time trailer, the show trailer, and then I
Okay.
guess that video did good. I was like to my audience, okay, if you guys want me to, I don't know, I guess read and share my thoughts on YouTube, I'm down with it. And a lot of people were down, and yeah, that's how I got started with the Wheel of Time, and I have not stopped since then. I've taken few breaks, but yeah, I'm currently at book number 5, and yeah, I'm loving it so far.
Yep. Fires of Heaven. Um, the I think my personal favorite is coming up, Lords of Chaos. So
That's the next
I'm
one,
really
right?
looking. Yep, I'm really looking forward to you getting to do my wells, which is the last chapter of that book. That's the one that everybody kind of calls out as sort of the biggest baddest moment in the franchise.
I mean, the
Um,
title's pretty insane as well. Lord of Chaos. I mean, that's a hectic ass title.
right?
I'm assuming it's gonna be a very chaotic book, right?
Yeah, and it's sort of like Fires of Heaven, and that it's they kind of keep the lid on it for the first 40-ish chapters, and then things really go nuts. But
Hey, let's go, let's go. that's
right,
that's making me pumped up, man. That's making me pumped up.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because it's a phenomenal book series, and I recommend it to everybody, and I feel like you probably do as well, based on how much it seems like you're enjoying it.
Oh yeah, for sure, man, for sure. I feel like maybe for new readers it may be a little hard to get into because I feel like the writing style is quite advanced compared to Brandon Sanderson. Because I
Yep,
did read his books before, it was kind of hard for me to get into the whole descriptive style of Robert Jordan's style. But
yep,
I
it
feel
is.
like once you get past that, it's quite simple to understand. It's pretty easy to follow. It's just you got to put that effort in getting past that barrier. So I think yeah, for any new readers that's watching this, just I don't know, just read. Eventually it'll be
Right.
fun.
Yep, you'll enjoy it. Um, so I guess who's been your favorite character?
Oh, Nynaeve. Oh, by far, like
Really?
there's no like, yeah, like there's no debate on that, man. I think with Nynaeve, I think ever since she just rocked up to Baelon in book one without no one knowing, straight away she became my favorite character. And I feel like the reason why she got me from the start is because she was the only character that stood up to Moraine in book one. No other character had the balls to do it except for Nynaeve. So I was like, you know what, Nynaeve, you have my respect. And then I feel like she also had some very good moments in book two. How she saved what's it called, Egwene,
Hmm.
from from the Sean Chan people. And yeah, I
Hmm.
think she's having a good book. She's having a good story in book five so far. So she's definitely number one by far. And I feel like maybe Matt, Rand, Perrin, they are close for number two, and yeah,
See,
Nynaeve is just
I'm fascinated by that answer because I feel like so many people have the experience of Nynaeve ends as their favorite or one of their favorites. Like almost, I feel like it's almost universally she's like the number one woman. But a lot of the times it is a grueling stretch to the point where she kind of really comes into her own. Um, and the, the circus arc, and I forget, does she the circus arc is Fires of Heaven, right?
yeah. It's she's still in the circus from where I'm up to. I think she's
Okay.
still in there, and then she's just getting humiliated.
Yeah.
She's having the worst. She's having the worst time of her life so far. I don't know what's gonna
Yep.
happen soon, but so far she's not enjoying it. She is not
Yep.
having a good time.
Yep. And I feel like Fires of Heaven. There's this huge like there's a like Rand and Matt and Perrin, like things are popping off, and so there's just they develop this ton of momentum, and then it's like, and now we're back to Elaine and Nynaeve at the circus. I'm just like, why did you interrupt the battle to tell me about the circus? Go, Robert Jordan, go back to the battle. So I don't know. I feel like that's the experience of many readers, but I love that you like Nynaeve because I also love Nynaeve. It just took me a lot longer to get there, and if you love her now, you're going to love her kind of when you get to the end. So that's cool.
No,
Um,
actually, I see where you're coming from with like the switch of point of views between Matt, like let's say Rand and Matt, and let's say the girls in the circus. It can get a little frustrating. I do agree with you on that. Sometimes, I feel like the three Targaryens have these crazy battle scenes. I feel like this was also quite relevant in the Shadow Rising. How let's say Perrin was having like this crazy arc in the Two Rivers, and out of nowhere we just go back to Rand and they're like, "Oh, can't be stuff." But then Rand kind of developed his own story in the Aiel Waste and whatever, and I'm like, "Oh yes, this is good." And then we go back to Perrin. I'm like, "Come on, man! Like, finish one story." But no, I feel like Robert Jordan just wants to play with my heart sometimes. But that's
right,
okay.
and
That's okay.
I will tell you I don't know. I don't know if have your fans warned you about the slog yet.
Oh yeah, I think I knew about the slug before I even started the series, man. I think the slug is like 3 books. I
So
think towards the end or
it's
something like that.
that's a topic of conversation as to what the slog actually is. At least the White Cloaks seem to have come to the conclusion that the slog is really only Crossroads of Twilight. That the other books are still pretty good, and that what really made that one hurt was you basically saw everything in Winter's Heart. Then everybody had to wait years for Crossroads of Twilight to come out, and then Crossroads of Twilight was everything shitty that didn't get covered in Winter's Heart. So you were expecting sort of like a bunch of big conclusions from Winter's Heart. So you were like, all right, let's go, guys. And then it's like, nope, here's a bunch of background characters' thoughts on the events. My sister refers to Crossroad of Twilight as the further deliberations of Perrin, and that's I feel like a lot of the thoughts on that. So no, I'm jealous. You always wish you could go back and reread it for the first time. So that's awesome. Um, I guess
Um,
go ahead.
I mean, what's it called with the slug and stuff? I did hear that how the crossroad of Twilight is exactly what you said. How it's like a summary, but from different characters' point of view. That's what I've heard so far. Um, but at the same time, I've also seen the book physical in the bookstore. It doesn't seem that big, so I feel like if it's a small book, I reckon I could just force my way through it. But I do understand because, like I said, I come from a manga reading background. I still
Mm,
read more manga than I read books, and I read one of the biggest mangas of all time, which is One Piece. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's massive.
love
It's
it.
like it's like over 1,000 chapters,
Yeah. So
and I understand that in order to have a good story, like a good long story, there's gonna be bad arcs in it. Like One
yep.
Piece is not perfect. It's still my favorite story of all time, and then I would say there's 3 to 5 arcs that I really don't like, and
Mhm.
you can count those arcs as like whole books in like the fictional world. So it's fine as long as like everything comes together towards the end. I'm open to it. I don't mind.
I, One Piece will always have a special place in my heart. The scene at Arlong's palace where Nani is, she just came to the realization that Arlong is never going to let her go, no matter what she does. She's just having her freak out moment, and she finally breaks down and she finally asks him for help, and he's like, "All right,
Of course, I'll help. Yes.
right, yeah, like I trusted you to
Oh,
handle this, but you're my friend, and now
yeah.
you need me." It's just like, all right, like, and
Nah, that Along, yeah, that Along
I,
story was so good, so good.
I was jacked, and as he was walking away, and I was like, Arlong's fucked. That dude is gonna get it. So, um, that was so no, I love that franchise, and I love that you're kind of crossing over between the genre. I guess what can you tell me your experience as the um, the fan base sort of switching from sort of to the fantasy? Has it, have people been welcoming to you? Has everybody been nice and positive and responsive?
Yo, this fan base is definitely way more welcoming than I had anticipated. They're so kind. Like, I don't think I've never had a negative experience with any fans, like or any fandom of the Wheel of Time. It's just, and plus one other good thing is you guys are really good at not spoiling. Very good. Like compared to other series, like nah, like this series knows how to not spoil. I think maybe because it's been around for a long time, and then most people, I don't know, grew up with this series, so it's kind of easier not to spoil. Maybe that's why. But I feel like I
Mhm.
don't know. It's just I've never okay. Maybe some hints in here. Maybe I did get kind of spoiled of Payton's Fane's identity. I think with more death and
Mhm.
what's the other guy's name again? What's the other guy's name again? Odith. More death
Or
and
if,
Odith. Like like some guy on YouTube just I don't know, always
it
decides
sucks.
to yeah, but I guess that's fine, it's not that massive. But other than that, like it's very hard for me to just openly it's easy for me to openly ask questions and answers, and then I'll get an answer that is satisfying without getting spoiled. So very good. And also, like, these people are very kind. If I have something maybe that I don't agree with most people, like let's say if I have an opinion, like I think when I say I don't like Egwene, and a lot of people do like Egwene, they're not coming and attacking me because I openly said it multiple times that I don't like Egwene. But then I do give my reasons, and I feel like that's a good thing about the Wheel of Time fandom is they're open to at least understand my point of view, because that's just the energy I give. I'm open to understand your point of view as long as you're open to understand my point of view. So it's a very it's a very nice experience so far.
Nice. That's fantastic. It's um, the Wheel of Time fandom, and I will say especially before the show came out, was really the nicest. The you know extraordinarily welcoming to everybody. The show has caused a little bit of a schism, and
Yeah.
so I don't know if you're aware, we're kind of the White Cloaks are kind of the anti-show community. So um, it's I appreciate you coming on because a lot of people have blatantly said we will not talk to you. You are toxic. You are beyond any. We just won't talk to you. So it's kind of it's nice to talk to somebody who it seems like you generally had positive view of the show. So I'm excited to kind of talk to you about this.
Yeah, coming back to the White Cloaks, I think I've actually come across this recently. Some people call people who don't like the show book clicks. I don't know
Yes,
when I found that out, I was like dying. I'm like, yo, you guys are creative as hell, bro. Book clicks, man, that got me tripped up, man. But yeah, like I said, man, I feel like I do sense the toxicity, like the toxic environments within the community after the show did come out, because I feel like if you don't agree with someone's views, that's it. You're just gonna get bashed straight away, which I don't think is quite nice. You know, like even me, I understand the negatives in the show, as well as I do understand the positives in the show. Um, Overall, I am quite satisfied with the show, but I wouldn't say I'm in love with it. I wouldn't say I hate it, but I'm just satisfied and content with the show.
that's fair. The antithesis to Book Cloak is Rafe Sworn. So that's been a I don't know. The fan base likes its name calling. It's an
Book
interesting one.
clicks.
It seems like it's
It's a bit unnecessary. I'm not gonna lie. It's a bit unnecessary, but it's whatever. It's funny
okay.
at the same time. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah,
it's a little unnecessary. It's for who cares? But it is what it is.
yeah. I mean, it's the internet. You get thick skin.
Hey man, sometimes
Um,
it's actually more fun being the bad guys online. What can you do,
oh,
man?
absolutely. You gotta join the White Cloaks Discord if you enjoy that. That's sort of our specialty at this point.
Fair, fair.
So I guess sort of give me your what was your favorite thing and what was your least favorite thing about the show?
About the show, my oh my god, my favorite thing. I guess we'll start off with the positives, right? Let's start off with the positives. My favorite thing is probably Nynaeve again.
Okay.
Oh my days. I think Nynaeve was just one of the better casting choices in my opinion. I wouldn't say I'm happy with all the casting choices, but I feel like Nynaeve was definitely a positive. Although towards the end, maybe there may have been some controversial stuff with Nynaeve. You know what? Let's just get Nynaeve out of the way. One thing I didn't like what they did with Nynaeve is towards the end is when she stirred up that drama between what do you call it, Perrin, Matt, and Rand. When she
Yep.
kind of caused that argument about that love triangle thingy, I was like, "How my god, how the audacity that these guys had to choose like out of every character they chose Nynaeve. Like she is like, come on, you can't be choosing Nynaeve to make some teenage drama dumb thing that's not relevant in this mad fantasy story. Like that's one thing I didn't like about Nynaeve. But then one thing I did like about Nynaeve was her whole story in episode 4. I feel like episode 4 in general was like one of my favorite things about the whole show. I've said it multiple times. I think episode 4 is a good episode in like the general TV environment. So I give it a 9 out of 10. I'd rate it really high. Episode 4, even though it wasn't canon to the books, I feel like if you were to go away from the books, that's how you should do it. And I feel like that's the only thing that the show got right when they went away from the books. Everything else I kind of didn't like, but I feel like that's because I'm not gonna lie. When I was watching episode 4, I was feeling like watching something different, you know, in a good way, not in a bad way. Everything else, I'm like, nah, you shouldn't have changed that. For example, in episode 1, how Rand and Egwene, their relationship escalated fast. Like there was no time to develop anything, and like they met up like 10 different times in the show. I'm like, come on, man, we know that they're not gonna be together at the end. Why are we? You know what I mean? So that kind of annoyed me as well. Well, what else do I like about the show? I'd like the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack is pretty decent. I also like the
Okay.
visuals, but then, like I said, soundtracks and visuals are not going to take you far. The best thing, though, the best thing is storytelling, structure, and pacing. And I feel like both structure and pacing was a massive, massive hit on the show. Not in a good way, in a bad way. Especially episode 1, it was so bad. Like, and I feel like sometimes the cutscenes are not as smooth as it should have been.
Yep.
Um, and then I don't know, man. I feel like there's some other characters that got too much time. For example, Dana, the Dark Friend. I was like not a big fan of her. I know that a lot of people liked her, but I just thought that we could have, done. I feel like that Dana episode was um, it was like um a
It was a dead end.
secondhand edition. It was like a secondhand edition of the what's that? The Four Kings, the Four Kings chapter in the Eye of
Yep.
the World. I feel like the Four
Yep.
Kings would have been much better in the TV show. And yeah, but let's talk about more positive. I think I've been talking about it. Oh my god, I'm becoming a white click now, man. Let's talk about let's talk about some positives, man. I like Matt's casting a lot. I really like Matt's the casting choice of Matt. Unfortunately, he's not going to be in season
I,
two,
I,
but
I
that's what
have
it
bad
is.
news for you.
You don't like him?
Uh, well, no, I mean, the bad news is, Barney Harris is gone. It's now Donald Finn.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if that was the selling point for you, um, but no,
I mean,
yeah, keep going. What else really sold it for you? You said you liked the music. You said you liked episode 4, and you liked the man actor.
I feel like I said, Matt, he was good. Oh my god, now we'll come to the bad things at the end. I just thought of something, never mind. Um, I think Rand, his casting choice was good, I think, but his development to becoming the dragon towards the end was not good. That's one thing I'd have to say. I feel like everything just happened in episode 7, where we got like everything about Rand. the their choices of making Moraine the main character instead of Rand the main character was also questionable at times, but I feel like it kind of works in some episodes. But like I said, it just really, for me personally, I just don't think Rand's development was given any justice, making Moraine the main character. Because I feel like them adding an extra character with Egwene being the dragon as well gave Rand less time to become to develop into the Dragon Reborn. It just happened too fast towards the end. Like I said, but I feel like his casting was still good, and some of the CGI and magic stuff earlier in the season was good. Later, I'm not gonna talk about later because that later was garbage, bro. But um, earlier it was actually quite good. The Trollocs looked nice, even though sometimes the framing may seem a bit unnatural, but that's fine. I feel like overall they did look okay, and the murderer looked okay. Tom. Another thing that I kind of enjoyed was definitely like I did like episode 2 as well. The whole Shadow Logoth part. I don't know why. I feel like that was a pretty good episode. You know, a lot of people just don't talk about that a lot, but I feel like the visuals were amazing in episode 2. And was it called Mashada, that black thing? That
Yeah,
black thing that
the
Mashada,
yeah
right? Yeah.
in Shadar Lagoth. Yeah. So I guess you talked about episode 4 and how it you really like that one. I think that was interesting because I guess first of all that was the only episode that was written by David Hall, and David Hall he was a writer on Game of Thrones, and then all the others were written by kind of different people who didn't really have a lot of experience. So I agree 100% with what you're
Okay.
saying that it seemed like a different um, for lack of a better term, a different texture. Um, I didn't love the episode itself. I especially hated the parts where that basically I thought the battle scene was a disaster. Where Logain blasts out of his cage. He waits 5 minutes for Moraine to show up. He talks to her. He then waits 5 minutes for everybody else to show up so that they can all team up on him. I was sitting here like, this series should be over. Logain is out of the cage. Alana and Karini should be dead. Moraine is going to be dead as soon as she walks down that hallway. He's going to cut her down, and then he's going to kill the rest of them from behind, along with the attacking army. And the series is going to go. And like the only reason that episode and that back section was able to function was it was basically Logain just had to be really nice to everybody, and
Yeah.
that drove me crazy. Um, I guess do you, some people just look at episodes differently. Like when I looked at that episode, that drove me absolutely to distraction to the point that I couldn't. Yeah, it was immersion breaking for me. Even like I couldn't even continue, to enjoy it just because I was yelling at my screen. Logain, walk down the freaking hallway. Um, so I guess that's sort of what stuck out to me with that episode. But I agree that it was differently textured in a way. To that, um, the um, you mentioned a couple other things that you really enjoyed. Um, what was you talked about the Rand casting, and I will say the White Cloaks are not. We're not a uniform entity. I really enjoyed the Rand casting. I thought if nothing else, I thought he looked the part. He was
Yeah.
a big guy in shape, which helped. And I think, you know, especially compared to some of the other casting choices, I thought that one was good. Let's see what else. I guess how did you feel about the who is the Dragon Reborn aspect of the show? Like that was for me that was tough
Could you repeat that
and sort
again?
of. Sorry, I need to sit closer to my mic.
That's all good.
How did you feel about the Dragon Reborn mystery? The sort
Okay,
of
yeah, Dread. Um, it was it was fine, but like I said, if we obviously knew that Ren was going to become the Dragon Reborn as book readers, right?
mhm,
So I guess for new people, it was definitely hard for them to guess who the Dragon Reborn is because you had Matt with the dagger, you had Perrin with the wolf stuff, Egwene was also just in there with her Aes Sedai stuff, and Nynaeve was there with her healing stuff. So I guess for new readers, it was definitely hard for them to predict the Dragon Reborn. Because not gonna lie, maybe that's a positive in a way because when I was reading the book, it was quite obvious that Rand will be the Dragon Reborn. Because let's be
yeah,
honest, 90% of the whole book was through Rand's point of
yeah,
view.
Rand's
But
point
I
of
guess
view.
in a way that kind of works for the next few books because the next few, especially the Great Hunt, it was all Rand again, and then
Mhm,
the Dragon Reborn, it was kind of the whole story was kind of catered around Rand's adventure towards Tyr. So, like I said, he becomes quite important. I mean, he is the main character so far. Let's be honest. So,
yeah,
for them to choose that guessing game, I guess it works. But will that pay off for the later seasons? I don't know. I actually don't know. Maybe with good, but so far, like I said, I was not happy that Rand didn't get that kind of development that he got in the book. So, but I guess in a way, it builds up the mystery more to guess who the Dragon Reborn is. Because I remember I was watching other people react as well. A lot of people thought that Nynaeve was a Dragon Reborn after episode 4, but then people
mhm,
thought that Matt was a Dragon Reborn after episode 5 with the dagger stuff.
mhm.
See, so maybe that's fine. But then again, it's like you guys have. I think sometimes the show writers forget that they only have 8 seasons to play around with. Like if you have 8 seasons to play around with, you've got deadlines, man. You gotta hit them. And instead of giving characters like freaking what's his name again, Stefan, Stefan and Dana a lot of time, just work on Rand. Work on Rand and the main casting. Just work on them instead, because they are gonna be. I'm assuming. I'm assuming in the later books as well that Rand and the three Targaryens are gonna have a lot of crazy time, and then to give Stefan like half an episode, I don't know, man. But then again, I did hear that what's it called? Season 1 suffered a lot from COVID, I think, so maybe they couldn't hit some deadlines. So
So
if
only
that's
only
true,
seven and eight were impacted by COVID. Everything else was free and clear. Which, and I think most people agree,
okay,
7 and 8 are clearly the
okay,
worst episodes. Um, I think it's interesting because I talked with a couple of people who hadn't read the books, and both of them nailed it exactly. Like they watched the first episode and they said Rand is the Dragon Reborn, and one said that he was the Dragon Reborn because he has anime hair, and the other said that he was the Dragon Reborn. Uh, be, he said it was they're adapting a fantasy series from the 1990s. Yes, the good-looking white dude is the main character and is the chosen one. And,
Yeah.
but both of those comments absolutely killed me, and I thought was demonstrative of kind of some of the issues of sort of playing with that mystery box. Um, I guess go ahead.
Well, what's it called? I'm just trying to think from a new I'm just trying to think from a new viewer's point of view. Maybe I'm wrong, but if it's that obvious, then they should have just I don't know made Rand the main character. Like if it's that obvious, like he even looks different compared to everyone. He looks like him.
Yeah,
He's got that IU look on him. Maybe that also kind of gives away if that he is a Dragon Reborn. So just give that guy more screen time, man. Like god damn, bro. Yeah, man. It's,
so it
but
was kind of the same thing. Did you watch Rings of Power?
I did finish Rings of Power. Yes, I did watch it.
Okay, so it was like I don't know if you saw the commentary around Bronwyn, how it was like everybody in the village was like dirty and shitty looking, and then she was like nice in her like Lululemon bra strap that was like bright blue. Like that blue top was the only piece of color in the entire village, and it was just like that's the main character, like the one with any defining feature and the one that's not caked in shit. Like that's how I feel it kind of was with Rand. Like he was
Yeah,
just so I don't know. That's kind of how I read it. Um,
fair enough.
now
Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, with the Wheel of Time and both Rings of Power, one thing I'd really wish they did was make them look more disgusting, bro. Like, put some dirt on their face, man. Why do they look like everyone just came out of a bath every single episode? They look so clean. Like, goddamn, these guys have been on a freaking adventure to Tarvalan, and they look like I don't know, man. They just came out of a shower. Like, come on, man. give
right?
them give them some give them some rough ass look. I don't know, both Rings of Power and the Wheel of Time suffered from this. If you look at House of Dragons, like the show, the House of if you showed, let's say, 10 seconds of the House of Dragon and 10 seconds of the Wheel of Time to a viewer that does not know about either of them, they will tell you that the Wheel of Time looks like the better show just just because how good it looks. But then they
Yep.
just don't know the story behind it. Like the writing is just far more like the House of Dragons is just on their own league just because
Yes,
of the
it is.
writing,
Yes, the
and
the
it does
writing
not
is miles above and beyond.
and it does not even look like Wheel of Time or the Rings of Power. Like you can just tell that the Wheel of Time been recorded in like 500K, and then while the House of Dragons been recorded in 1080p. Like you can just tell by the like you can just tell which company has more money. Amazon clearly has more money, and then comes the writing part that just makes House of Dragon more a much more better experience in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
like I said, it takes you far. Like having good scripts, good structures, good. Obviously, not gonna lie, House of Dragons kind of does suffer from fast pacing at times, but still, overall, it's quite satisfying from what I've seen and from what the community's been saying. There's levels to this, man. There's levels to it. But I'm not saying that the Wheel of Time is bad or anything. I'm just saying it could have been as good, if not better, than the House of Dragons. That's just my
From
opinion.
from a source material perspective, I absolutely agree. Um, I guess do you mind talking to us about sort of some of the ideological stuff that did you perceive any sort of ideology or politics sort of in the background of the Wheel of Time?
Are you talking about the show or the books?
Yeah, the show. Like, did you see sort of? I guess one of the accusations that people level at the show is that it's sort of a heavily, um, heavily feminist. That the showrunners really didn't like any of the main male characters, and so they did everything they could to push the women to the front, and it ended up sort of damaging the overall product.
Um, Not necessarily. I got that. Maybe adding Nynaeve and Egwene to the Dragon Reborn race, maybe that was kind of unnecessary. But like I said, I just don't care. Like I said, I've got no problem with it if they do. Like at the end of the day, Nynaeve is my favorite character, and she's a female. But
Mm,
I feel like Tar Velen, the whole Aes Sedai stuff, I didn't find it that interesting. I feel
mm.
like I feel like the introduction of the Armlin seat in the Great Hunt was much better, if I'm being honest with
Without
you.
question.
And and I'm not gonna lie, them not introducing Alida was a massive sin. How could you not have Alida in this season? Like Alida, like if you like that's one thing. Like I wish they went to Camelin. Camelin would have been so freaking awesome, man. Like meeting loyal. Like if you, I just don't know, man. I feel like just go to Camelin. If they had went to Camelin instead, and from Camelin they went to Shania, that would have been a lot better. Because in Camelin we at least got to get to meet, the Queen. We get to meet Elaine, Gawain, and Gilad. I feel like that would have been a lot better if compared to the whole White Tower stuff. I I've just felt like the White Tower stuff wasn't as interesting as I would have liked. I just feel like the White Tower would have been better introduced if Egwene and Nynaeve had just went there as novices instead. You know, because
Yeah.
the whole purpose of Rand, Matt, and Perrin being traumatized by the White Town Ice to die, I just didn't feel that compared to the books. I
No.
didn't feel that at all. You know, I just felt like sometimes, maybe once in episode 2, how Rand went off at Moraine. That's the only time. That's the only time where I felt like they don't like Aes Sedai's. But then we see multiple times how Matt is like sucking up to Moraine. Not sucking up. He's like, I guess in a way he was always scared, but he just wasn't as, what do you call it? He's not as, what's it called, outspoken or anything. Same thing with Perrin and, yeah, man. I didn't feel that sense of hatred towards the Aes Sedai or the White Tower. So for them to choose the White Tower as the last destination was a bit conf. It was a bit here and there, But at the same time, I feel like some scenes were good in the White Tower. But coming back to that feminine stuff, I didn't really feel that. If I'll be honest with you, but like I said, having that White Tower part what can may have seemed a bit excessive at time. I just
So
felt like
okay.
we could have moved faster.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a question. And I'm not trying to play a game of gotcha here, or whatever. I just like this was something that was brought up on our Discord. Um, with the exception of maybe Tom Maryland, if you go through the list of male characters, would you agree that the most impressive moment was taken from every male character in the show?
Um,
So I guess let's. Do you mind if we walk through it? Just
I
start at the beginning.
would have to I would have to slightly disagree on that. I would have to slightly disagree on that. Because I feel like Nynaeve's part in episode 4 was really impressive. And I feel like Egwene trying to fight Elma. What's that guy's name again? The white click? The Elma.
Um, Jesus, what is what? Oh my God!
What's her name again? You know what I'm talking about, Jay, how she was trying to save Perrin and stuff.
Yeah.
She was using the one power for the first time.
Chat,
What's that
help
guy's
me
name
out here.
again?
What is the name of the White Cloak?
What's the name again?
Velda.
Elma
Eamon Velda.
Velda. Even Velda, yeah.
Um,
I feel like Egwene trying to use the one power for the first time against him was kind of impressive as well. I feel like Moraine
but
was pretty impressive towards the end of the first episode as well. And who else is a female that had a good? I feel like them three in specific, they had good
yeah,
moments.
I'm saying the opposite is that every named male character, with the exception of Tom Maryland, lost their most impressive moment.
Okay, opposite.
Yep,
Okay.
I agree. The
My
women
bad. I
came out
understand the
looking
question. Okay, my
looking
bad.
solid.
Um, okay, let me have to think about that now. Okay, I feel like, yeah, in a way I do agree. I feel like Matt had a good story though. I think Matt was overall impressive with his whole daggers thing. I thought that was done pretty well. Perrin,
Oh,
my days, Perrin
really?
was that guy was a massive miss in my opinion. Starting off with him having a wife, like oh my god. You have no idea how annoyed I was with him having a wife. And then
See,
for them to show his internal struggles. by killing his wife at the start was questionable, but at the same time, whatever.
No,
And then Perrin, I don't know, they kind of destroyed his character towards the end for me after having that love triangle with Egwene.
the he is irredeemable after that scene. That scene confirmed that he married his wife while in love with Egwene, then knew
I
that
hope that's
Rand
not
and
true, man.
Egwene. What?
I hope it was just a misunderstanding, man. I just really hope. Maybe they could just pull off something crazy in season two, but I'd really hope that's a misunderstanding. But I just don't like how they got Nynaeve involved with that whole thing again. Like, I'm saying this multiple times, man. And then,
The entire
bro, I'm
scene was
telling
a
you, like,
disaster.
if they had Elias, Perrin's character would have been elevated. So instead of giving characters like Stefan all this time, you could have had Elias literally for 20 minutes, and then we could have seen some Perrin's stuff with the wolves. Because now, who's gonna teach Perrin about the wolves? Is he just gonna find out by himself or something? Hopefully, Elias will come in season two. But like I said, who's gonna
Yep,
tell
he's been
Perrin about the
cast.
wolves? Okay, oh,
Well,
okay, no worries. Okay,
I guess my thing is,
but I
they say you only get one shot at a first impression, and the first impression that we got of Perrin is Perrin was trying to steal his best friend's girl while married.
yeah.
Like, I mean,
You know
that's
what's crazy, right?
irredeemable.
You know what's crazy? I think I recently watched episode 1 and 2 recently, and then now I'm seeing that Perrin was asking about Egwene a few times, and I'm like,
Yep, it was set up from the beginning.
no,
From the very
no, because I
first
didn't see it.
shot,
Yeah,
the very first
I
time
didn't
you see
see it,
them
man.
together, um, she walks in, Rand smiles at her, it flashes back to Egwene, and then it flashes back to Perrin, and he's also smiling at her. That's called a mirrored reaction shot. That was done intentionally to set them both up as being into her. Like from a filmmaking perspective, they did that on purpose, and it's terrible. Um, I guess in
I mean, I
the
think I've talked to some people, right, who read the books, and then they said later events do happen in the future, which for them at least makes sense, and Egwene being a thing in the future. But like I said, man, bro, only Fail is for parent for me, anyways. Them two are in their own little world, and yeah, that's just my opinion, bro. And you know what's crazy? I actually watched the show when I was like on chapter, let's say 10 in the Great Hunt. So I didn't even know that Fail was a character at that
mhm.
moment, and I was
Yep.
still very against Perrin and Egwene because at that time I thought that Rand and Egwene was meant to be. At that time, at
Mhm.
least, I thought that because, and then now we find out that they're not gonna be together. At least as I know right now. But I really, really dislike that scene. I feel like episode 7 overall, everything else I kind of enjoyed. The lack of character development for Rand is something I hated in episode 7. Obviously, that love triangle I didn't like. The starting scene of the Aiel women was really good. I liked that a lot. But if
Okay.
that didn't have the love season, like the love triangle, it would have been a good episode. But I feel like that Aiel scene just carried that whole episode, man. Hard. Perrin took a massive hit, and another male characters, Lan. I think Lan was okay though. I feel like Lan was good. I don't
That
think he was
funeral
bad.
scene was rough for Lan. Like he didn't get his beheading of the Fade, and then they did that funeral scene to him. Like, I mean, when you think about Lan's like iconic stuff,
He didn't show
death is
weakness,
light.
right?
Yeah, death is lighter than a feather, duty heavier than a mountain. There's one rule to being a man. No matter what comes, face it on your feet. Like his defining moment in that show being him on his knees with his shirt open crying was character assassination to the nth degree, and I've heard people defend that as like he's doing his duty, he's it's his job to be emotional for everybody, and I just that scene that hurt me right here. Like that did not need to be that way. I,
Okay.
do you
Um.
agree with that one?
Yes and no. I feel like I mean both ways. I feel like Lan. Yes, it was a bit way too dramatic. Him pulling out his shirt, screaming in the air. Like that part was not necessary. What they could have done is, like, I agree with. I don't mind them showing with Lan showing emotions, right? So I feel like every man has like so much emotions inside of them that most men actually don't want to show, which can be dangerous. It can be very
Mhm.
bad, and I feel like
Yep.
they could have done that with Lan in a more powerful way. Let's say Lan could have been there, and let's say after the funeral was over, he could have just went to a room by himself and started breaking down. That would have been so much better. Instead of him openly pulling out his shirt, being all dramatic as if he's like some Bollywood actor. Come on, man, this isn't Bollywood, man. This is
Right.
this is the Wheel of Time. Like, come on, man, don't be doing that. That I agree with you. How that part was very unnecessary. Him showing emotion, I don't mind. Just the way he showed it, I do mind. So, like I said, they could have after the whole funeral or the whole the stuff that happened. He could have just went away by
Mhm.
himself, be looking out a window, out in the open, and then we could have just seen a tear or two just drop by, and that's it, man. That would have made me cry. I would have cried if I saw that, man.
Right. And I
Like,
especially I find that galling because you talk about toxic masculinity. Land's entire arc is toxic masculinity. Land is the guy who
oh, so
doesn't break down. It's only when he sort of gets with Nynaeve that he's sort of more able to sort of demonstrate his feelings and is able to sort of grow as a person. Um,
yeah.
so I mean that's and you'll see it as you get sort of into some of the later parts. The Golden Crane rides, uh, the Golden Crane rides. I don't know. You haven't gotten there yet, but it's maybe the
Probably
best part
not.
in the entire series. But I think the way because everybody tells me the entire point of that episode was to demonstrate the bond. What better way to demonstrate the bond than having Lan, sitting there stoic, and then having Moraine somewhere else, not at the funeral, kind of crying because she's feeling his emotions that he's not showing. Like, I thought that would have been the easiest way, but I mean, that your way is just as good. There's 50 different ways to do this, and none of them were that one. Um,
Yeah, like I said, it's just way too dramatic, man. It didn't need to be that dramatic. Like I said, that whole episode was it episode 5. We're talking about episode 5, right?
yep,
Yeah, I'm pretty
five
sure it's
was
episode 5.
Stefan.
Yeah, I think episode 5 was. Yeah, I feel like that whole Stefan arc in episode 5 was just. Listen, I have nothing against Stefan. I feel like he's a good guy, man. He's just not that. He's just not that important. That's just my only problem. I feel like him as a character would have been great if he was an important character. Like, I guess through Stefan we get to see more of the water stuff. I guess that part of the story I do like. We get to see more of the interaction with waters because let's be honest, we never saw that in the books really. The interactions between waters and how they are friends, how they gather. I guess the show did a good job on that part, but you only need to show us 5 minutes of that to make us know that that's a thing. You don't need to freaking show us 40 minutes of Stefan to kind of make a point on that. So, and then to have Lan breakdown at the end, yeah, I agree. I agree that he shouldn't have been dramatic, but I guess I also appreciate the fact that we get to see a tough man like Lan show some emotions, not in a way that makes sense, but at least he's showing some emotion. That's yeah, whatever. That's just what I have to say.
Yeah, and that is your entire opinion. If it was up to me, Land would never blink until after he marries Nynaeve. But different people like different things, and that's kind of
I
why
think
we're
I think I, I think I prefer that. I prefer Len not showing emotions. I also prefer that. But at the same time, I don't mind him showing any emotions. But I do prefer what you're saying as well. Like you know, you can just show other people breakdown instead of Len. But yeah, Len has his own identity,
Mhm.
which yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, I just as I watched it, I couldn't look away. They took Tarwin's Gap from Rand. They took the fight in the Blight away from Matt. They took the fight outside of Baerlon away from Perrin. They took decapitating the Fade away from Lan. They took Tam killing like 30 fucking Trollocs at outside of the house. Um, I mean, it just seemed like nobody got their big moments, and then the big moments that did happen, they ended up going to uh, Egwene
Egwene, right?
or
I
Egwene,
agree with
Egwene
you
or
on
Nynaeve.
Tam. I
Yeah,
agree with you on the Tam part, man. I agree on the Tam part. He just,
they,
oh man,
you've gotten to Abel Cawthon, right? Matt's dad.
he was Abel Cawthon was quite relevant in the book 4 in the two rivers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a great guy. He's
Oh,
a phenomenal dad. And then seeing him get turned into Jesus, that was rough. That
oh,
they did
so
not need to do that.
I thought that that might happen later in the book, so I wasn't quite sure. So you're telling me that Abel Cawthon was never like that?
No, Abel Cawthon was always a saint, a genuinely fine man who
Um,
never did anything wrong. That was that characterization in the show hurt a lot of people.
oh, I didn't know about that. I actually didn't know about that. I just assumed that, Matt probably had some family issues or something, so I just didn't care, to be honest. I never really overlooked at that, but hmm, damn, I didn't know about that. Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah, damn. Hopefully, Abel Cawthon has some redemption arc in the show after
I
that.
really hope so.
Yeah, hope because I'm telling
Yeah,
you, he's gonna need a redemption arc after that. Damn, I didn't know that, man. I actually didn't know
right. I
that.
mean, I don't know who got it worse, he or Perrin, but and I guess Matt got it bad too. Like, I know they lost him for 7 and 8, but like, why didn't they just say, yeah, Matt's too sick to come with us? Why did they have to show him going to the gate and then abandoning his friends? Like, that was rough. I mean, that's not. I don't know about you. That's not the Matt Cawthon that I ever read about.
What they could have done is they could have left him at Tarvelen, and you know how it
Yep.
took Matt a long time to heal, right? They could have just done that.
Yeah.
That would have made more sense. Because I'm pretty sure that's what happened in the book. After the Aes Sedai healed him, took him a long time to get up, I think. And then when
Yep.
he got up, he just ate. He just kept eating. So, because that's how long he's been knocked out for. I feel like that would have made
Yep.
more sense. Yeah, I also agree with you on that. I just felt like, what's the point of coming if he's not coming? you know.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and then I want to talk about one more thing. How Moraine got that evilness out of Matt was cool. Yes, it was visually it was cool, but the thing I
Mhm.
didn't, I wished I did was I wish they had 10 Aes Sedai. Specifically, I wish they had 10 Aes Sedai to show
Yep.
us how much this evil thing was of an issue. Because I feel like Moraine just walking in and then getting that darkness out of Matt, it felt, number one, it felt rush. Number two, it
Yep.
felt a bit lazy. And
Yep.
but then I guess they kind of made up with the visuals. I think the visuals in that scene was pretty good. How I remember, and I feel like the writing as well was kind of decent as well. I think when Moraine took that evilness out of her, she was like, "Oh, you stupid boy!" Yo, I love that line when she called him, "Oh, like yeah, that was a really good line." And then I feel like how that evilness came to Moraine's face and came off. I think that was good. But then again, I feel like that's the only thing that saved that scene was the visuals and some of the dialogues that Moraine had. But looking at the scene from like a bigger picture, yes, it would have been a lot better if there were proper 10 eyes to die with that Ungreal. Was it an Ungreal or with that rod thingy, right? They
Uh,
used like more
yeah. It was like a big healing rod, I think.
they used like more of the one power. So 10 Aes Sedai were not even enough to take that darkness out. So like I said, it did feel a bit lazy to me if I'm being honest with you. But I guess the visuals kind of saved that scene.
Okay. See, we were the land putting Rand in the headlock or whatever it was that devastated us. Um, just how
Which
rough
scene
that
are you
looked.
talking about? Which scene are you talking
So
about?
the scene where Moraine heals him. Remember Rand and Matt are
Oh yeah.
yeah
I remember, I remember, I
they're
remember.
they're stupid and they're just like, don't go near him, and it's like, Rand, are you a fucking idiot? Matt is blatantly dying right there. Like, why do you not want her to go near him? Like, he's fucking losing his
I
shit. Like,
mean, I guess that's an interesting. 'Cause maybe that kind of shows how Rand doesn't really trust Moraine. I guess that you can look at it from that point of view. So I guess I kind of agree with Rand's reaction there, because I feel like he's just, because obviously Moraine took Rand, Perrin, and everyone else out of the Two Rivers, and their whole life has just been different ever since then. Even though they look like they wake up fresh and clean every morning, but you got the point I'm trying to make, right? Their life has been completely hell. So maybe that he was somewhat traumatized, even though, like I said, the what's like a building up to that did like how do I say this in words? The development of all three characters for the lack of development, shall I say, to have that distrust towards Moraine was not good. But I guess in that scene we kind of see that Rand does not entirely trust Moraine. How he's like, "Don't go near him, whatever. You're gonna make him worse because you've already messed up our life enough, you know." So maybe in a way that works. So
See,
yeah,
I just
but
looked
I
at it
feel like
as if you're going to say that like he didn't trust Moraine, isn't the response, well, you clearly trusted her enough to hike your ass halfway across the known world, like, to go meet with her in Tarvalon. So I guess that, but I guess I get what you're saying. Like he could easily see it as, I'm here to get Egwene, and then we're leaving. We're not hanging out for any of this Moraine bullshit. So
yeah, yeah.
I guess that's a fair read of the scene.
In a way, like what you're saying is also correct, because we didn't see Rand not trusting Moraine developed enough to what's it called prior to that scene. So I said
Mm.
it's just because Moraine just came in and she's like, all right, let's leave the Two Rivers, and everyone just went along with her without them really having a proper, debate or a proper like standoff saying, oh, okay, whatever. Because we've seen that happen multiple times in the Eye of the World. So maybe that's why that scene wasn't as effective as it should have been, you know?
Yep.
So because, but then in a game, it makes sense in the grand in the whole story, because even in book 4 and 5 Rand does not trust Moraine, so he
Nope.
does not trust Moraine for a very long time. So for him to have that reaction makes perfectly sense. Was it executed perfectly? No, it wasn't, but it makes sense. So I feel like I said, the show really needs to work on certain developments on certain emotions and certain characters and certain relationships and revelations. So
Yep.
that really hurts a
100%.
lot of scenes. They just. But hopefully, let's just all hope for a good season two, because
Oh,
we, even though we had it, let's all hope for a good season two, man.
there's people may say that the White Cloaks are like the anti show group or whatever. There's not a single one of us would be upset if season two wasn't fantastic. Or,
Yeah,
like everybody wants this show to be good, because I think there's a realization that if let's just call it spade a spade. If Rings of Power is as bad as it's looking, review wise, and if Wheel of Time has another, let's call it rocky season two, I don't think we're getting a season three. Well, actually,
no.
they said we're getting a season three, but I'm yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't know if I believe it.
Amazon has a lot of money, man, and regardless of if Rings and Power is good or bad, it will always get viewers, man. Because let's be honest, it's still freaking Lord of the Rings, man. It's the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Even if it's bad, it'll always get viewers. It'll always make Amazon money. So that, I think Rings of Power
well, I think that's kind of that. I think that goes
has a
down
massive
into
audience
the.
as the Ring of Power does. So they really need to.
Well, I think that goes into a couple things. The first is, how do these streaming services actually say that they make money? Like, how does Amazon say, Rings of Power? We spent $1 billion on Rings of Power, and it made us X amount of money. Um, because I don't know really, I don't have a great idea of how that calculus works. Like, it's easy on Netflix. You can say
Um.
okay, but I think that plays a
So
part
I guess
into it.
there's one way it brings out new audience to Amazon Prime in general. Like they'll buy the monthly subscriptions and all that stuff. I guess in that way it may bring them more money in there, because Rings of Power, like I said, has a massive audience. That's
Now,
one way of
you're from
making
Australia,
money.
right?
Right.
Okay, so at least in the United States of America, I have never met anybody that bought Amazon Prime for Prime Video. Everybody in America has Amazon Prime for free shipping. So I guess that's
Oh
part of some
yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah,
confusion.
yeah. Yeah, no,
So I
in
don't
a way,
is
you're
it
actually right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because I think I also get Prime for the Prime membership. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
yeah,
My
so I
bad.
guess is that the same in Australia that it's do you know people that are buying Prime Video or that are getting Amazon Prime for Prime Video, or is it all shipping?
Like I said, man, I'm not that what's it called? Not
Well, okay.
knowledgeable in the technical areas of this streaming sites, but I'm pretty sure it comes with the $7 a month in Australia, of course, because I feel like our currency is a bit higher compared to Americans. seven
Okay, well
dollars a month, I think. We
the other
was
Australian
it?
in the chat is telling me that he has it for Prime Video. So maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe it is a moneymaker in Australia. Uh, Eldan in the chat is from Australia. He's a big Wheel of Time guy as well.
How's it going, mate? Aldan? Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I don't remember because I always check my bank my bank my bank statements. I don't remember Amazon taking like $10 off my bank account anytime. They always take like the the monthly shipping thing every month. So I guess I'm chilling. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So
It's
so
bit
so
of a stick one.
so I guess the
It's a bit
question
of a
I have for
sticky
you
one.
is do you get it together? You get the shipping and the video. So did you when you know do you have it for the shipping or do you have it for the video?
I'm pretty sure I have it for the shipping, man. But I remember when the Wilton first came out, I did get the video subscription, the video what's it called membership. It was like $13 a month, I think, or something like that. I
Yep.
did actually buy that for like the first 2 months just to watch season one, and then
Okay.
after that I cancelled it. But I still have access to Prime Video, which is weird. That's how I've been watching Rings of Power.
Okay.
Just yeah,
Well,
it's weird.
apparently in Australia
Man.
people do buy it for the video. So maybe my experience is just different than the folks down under. So
Yeah, Australia's a weird
I don't know.
country, man. You'll get everything here.
Well, based on some of my interaction with Eldan, I think that's probably a true statement. Um, but so I guess let's see what have we not talked about? Um, you want to take a stab at that finale, or do we just want to let that sleeping dog lie?
Do you want to what?
Do you want to talk about that episode 8 finale?
Oh, the last one. Okay. Sure, sure. Um, listen, man. I think recently given out my overall ratings of the whole show, and I think I've rated episode 8 of. Honestly, I think I was a bit too nice, man. A 4 is. It's not a 4, man. It's lower than a 4. I just want to talk of. Okay, there's a lot of things to talk about. Okay. Number one, before we even start with episode 8, Bile Zimmerman looked absolute garbage, bro. Oh, from the
Yep.
start, he looked so bad. But Bile Zimmerman thing was, I didn't feel that at all. Like, that guy never seemed like a proper threat from day one. Oh my
Nope.
days, like, his whole arc was really bad. But then again, I'm saying he may have a redemption arc in season 2 because we know that he was quite relevant in the Great Hunt and the Dragon Reborn. So let's hope that he has a good story in season 2 or 3 or whatever, how many it goes. Balzaman was bad. He was so bad. And then for Rand to openly wait, it was Mashin Shin that told Rand that he was dragon, right? That
So
went in the
we've been trying to figure this out, and there's a good portion of us that think Rand came inside Egwene so hard that he realized he was the Dragon Reborn. Um, Others think that it was Mush and Shin made him finally realize it, and then others are like,
wait.
"Well, no, it was when Tam told him." Can you
Hey man,
can you
I
hear me?
don't think I can hear you, man.
All right, is this better?
Oh, that's better. I don't know what's happening there.
Oh, all good. So yeah, no, about a third of us are saying that Rand came inside Egwene so hard that he realized he was the Dragon Reborn in episode 7, and that was it. That he just, in a moment of post nut clarity, realized he was the chosen one. The other group is saying,
Okay. Before we,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Before we, I just want to ask you: do you remember how he knew he was a dragon in the books?
I
How
mean,
did
he
he find that
basically
again?
he basically knew as soon as he was dragging Tam through the woods that something was off. Tam basically told him like, "Look, you're not my." He flashed back to
Oh,
the fight, the Battle of the Shining Wall, I think is what it was called. And he said, "Yeah, no, I picked you up out of the snow, and that's where I found you." So he basically knew from
yeah,
the
but
beginning,
didn't
and
Rand
and
like initially say, "Oh, that's not true"?
yeah, so he was in
Because he was
denial
like
for
second
most of
guessing
it.
himself the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
um,
So I think wasn't the first that he really knew that he was Dragonborn was when those 2 4 seconds came at the
yeah,
end of the eye after they've discovered the eye, right? And that's when he saw the
yeah,
chords, right? Of the so okay, I think. See, all my days. If they had that scene in the show, that would have been so epic, man. Those 2 4
yep,
seconds just walking up, and then Rand. I think wait, one person killed. Was it the Green Man that killed one of the other
yep,
Forsaken, and
the
then
Green
Rand killed
Man,
another one, and
yep,
then Rand. That part when he changed the whole location, he went to the actual battle with the Shannarian people. He
yep,
absolutely decimated the whole Trollic army. That was some of the best action I've read to date, man. Like that scene alone is like top 5 action scenes in the Wheel of Time so far. Even though it was book one, and book one is like probably not the best book I've read, that action scene itself was done so nicely, man. And to just episode 8, it was just Rand standing, Baal Zamon standing, and then Rand getting one power from this. Bro, another thing is, did Moran give him a Sarangrill? That's a Sarangrill,
yes,
right? If I'm not.
yep,
What the nah? See, that's nah. It can't be that small, bro. It looks so weak. I'm pretty sure Moran gave him an Ungrill after book one. I don't care if she gave him one. Give him an Ungrill, bro. Why are you giving him a Sarangrill from the start? We need to know the power levels, man. You're messing with the power levels if you're giving him a Sarangrill so freaking early, and it looks so weak as well. Like, come on, man. A Sarangrill is meant to be like Calendar. It's meant to be like those massive spear thingies, bro. That's a Sarangrill I'm talking about, bro. Not this freaking toy in a
yep,
like made from wood. That's an Ungrill, but I don't mind if it's Ungrill if he's channeling from the Ungrill. I don't mind that, but to make that a Ungrill, like, nah, that's just. I don't know how that's gonna affect. Like now we know that if okay, cause now when he comes across Calendar, we're just gonna see Calendar as like, okay, it's just another Sangirl that looks cooler. That's all.
yep. And
So that part was very disappointing, man. And then, like I said,
yeah,
the whole standoff between Balzaman and Ran, they were just standing face to face, looking at each other, having a freaking eye contest. And another thing is, well, the constant cuttings from that scene to Egwene and Nynaeve scene, it was like every 10 seconds they have to switch from one point to another, to another, to another. Like, what's going on, man? Like, come on, man. If you're trying to build up some momentum or some massive, I don't know, man, build up to something crazy, it clearly was not working. It was really
mm,
bad. And coming to Egwene and Nynaeve's part, yo, when they were like overusing that one power, that whole CGI thing was so bad. It was so bad, man. And I don't know, man. It was just, what else is there, man? What else is there? I feel
uh,
like the whole eye as well. The whole eye didn't seem that interesting as well. Like I think the eye was meant to be liquid sardine as well. There
yep,
was nothing there. Like where was the eye? What was the eye? Where did they even go? Like what was the whole point of that location? There was no eye. The only thing I
nope,
saw was like a that was not an eye, man. That was an ear. That literally looked like a shape of an ear. It was not an eye, man. Like, come on,
yep,
man. What are you guys doing, bro? I'm not trying to see no ears, man. I'm trying to see an eye of sardine, bro. That's what I'm trying to
yep,
see. And then that's how Rand could have defeated Baalzamon was by drawing the one power from Sidene. That's what he did in the books. He drew
Yep.
one power from that liquid Sidene instead of having some
He,
underwhelming sangreal in his hand.
he
And
took a
the whole
Gwen's
thing
acceptance
with
test.
yeah, that's actually a good way of
That's
looking at
exactly
it,
what they
man.
did. They
Yeah.
they swapped. They traded. Rand got a Gwen's acceptance test, and Egwene got Tarwin's cap. That's what the show did. But I,
Uh, yeah, man. It's just I just that whole there was nothing epic about that moment. But like I said, man, you gotta understand that this show had problem with COVID and stuff with the last episode, especially. So I guess I'll give that the benefit of the doubt. I'm pretty
the
sure
first 6 episodes sucked too. Like
which one?
the first 6.
Oh, the first six. Okay, okay, okay. I was gonna say, I wouldn't say they sucked. I would say, okay, if I was to like, if I was to like, no, what's it called? Okay, episode one, it was okay. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't bad. For me, at least, it was okay. The reason why I thought it was okay, and the reason why I didn't feel it sucked, even though it did have pacing and structure issues, I just felt like we were at the Two Rivers. The whole feeling of being in the Two Rivers felt real to me. Like, yeah, I'm in the Two Rivers, man. I'm seeing all these that inns, all the towns. That just felt real to me. That's why the first episode has a special place in my heart, man. And then I feel like the end scene was pretty good as well. The whole trolley coming in, even though sometimes the movements of the Trollocs seemed a bit weird and wacky, it's still I still enjoyed it overall. Probably give it like a solid 6.5 or 7ish, you know. Episode 2 was probably one of the better episodes in the whole show, in my opinion. I feel like the whole Shadow Logoth part was really good. I really enjoyed it, man. And then episode 3 was when I started having questions. I feel like that whole Dana thing was kind of, I don't know, man. It was okay, but I feel like it was just a more bad. It was like a bad version of the things. And I feel like episode 4 was also kind of slow. No, episode 4, episode 3 was slow. Episode 4, like I said, I'm with most people on this. I understand. I get your point of views. I get why you don't like it. It makes sense. But I feel like episode 4, the reason why I liked it, because it kind of took me away from the book to make it its own in a way that felt captivating. That's why I liked it. And plus Nynaeve, man. You know I love Nynaeve. It had good moments in Nynaeve. Episode 5, we haven't talked about Loyal now, have we? We haven't talked about Loyal. That's when Loyal first got introduced. A lot of
Yes,
people
I try
didn't
and block
like
out
his
the walking
appearance.
hate crime that was loyal to Loyal's appearance.
Yeah, his appearance was okay. I'm with the people who didn't like his appearance. Like, yeah, he looked a lot human than a creature. He looked more human than a creature, which was not to my liking. But at the same time, his dialogues were
His
good. I didn't mind it. His dialogues were good.
I don't know that I would say his dialogue was good. I would say his delivery and his voice was good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
That was
don't get
good.
me wrong, they still had him
So
saying some
I
dumbass
guess that kind
shit,
of
but he delivered it very well.
makes up his.
Sorry, you cut off. What? Hey, folks in the chat, am I the one that's tripping out, or is he? There he. Wait, no, come back. There it is. Welcome back to the show.
I don't know what I don't know what I did, man. I went on the Discord and is it working? I don't know what's happening, man. Is this from Discord or
You're
what's
back.
happening, man?
No, I think Pips pulled you back in. I think Pips finally checked his phone. So, Pips, you're
Ah,
the absolute
okay,
man.
okay,
Thank you very
okay.
much. Um,
My bad, guys.
so
I don't know what happened, man. This internet thing is just so unreliable at this, bro. Far up, man. And every single day just has to be today.
same things happen. Same thing happens to Aldan occasionally. A dingo or something will eat through his internet cord.
Hey, man. It is what it is, bro.
Right. That's
All right,
So I guess
before
is there a Wheel of Time fan base in Australia, or is it pretty much just you and him?
me and who? Oh, me. I mean, in Australia, I don't think many people even read books to begin with. To be honest, we're
Okay,
we're very we're kind of excluded from the rest of the world in our own way. We're a bit of our own, to be honest. But I guess you do have, obviously there's gonna be some people that reads the Wheel of Time, but not that I know of. That, I mean, I know some people online that who are Australian who reads the Wheel of Time, but I feel like they're the kind of side. No one my age, at least I know, reads books in general. No one my age reads Burn. No one my age,
that's
so
fair.
it's hard to find a fan. There's a lot of anime fans, you know. Maybe I'm a fan. There's a lot of anime fans, but Wheel of Time and like fictional books and stuff, nah, it's very, very rare. Very rare.
I got you. See, the one of the biggest discussions on the White Cloaks have is how much of a mistake was it to not make Wheel of Time as an anime, to make it as live action when it could have been a
Bro, they could have had so much more control over like a lot of other stuff. Like I feel like the Wheel of Time, because when the magic they use in the Wheel of Time is very extreme magic, right? Like, see, the
yep.
reason why I feel like Game of Thrones and the Lord of the Ring works, because I feel like the magic isn't as heavy, and they don't have to really rely on, you know, crazy CGI or crazy setups. Nothing like that. The Wheel of Time, if they had made it into an animated series, like, bro, imagine the potential that they had. They would have had like so much control over so many things. It would have been so much better. I don't know, man. Uh, but at the same time, I feel like a TV series probably would have attracted more people, if I'm being honest with you. So maybe that's why they have went along with that. Because if they had made it into an animated series, they're not going to make it like Japanese. They're not going to do that. They'll probably like do something like Avatar: The Last Airbender or like Cyberpunk, one of those animated series. Not like crazy dramatic anime. No, not that. If they did, oh my days, I would have watched it from the start, man. 100%.
I
It
would
would
have
have been
watched the
amazing.
fuck out of some Full Metal Alchemist Wheel of Time.
Oh yeah,
The
damn, it's mad. It's gonna like rival One Piece, bro. If it was an anime, far out.
yeah, well, I think that's interesting because so many of the Japanese animes sort of come from Western properties that
Yeah.
folks in Japan watch. They're like, man, this is awesome. We could totally do this, and because nobody speaks English over here, or nobody's familiar with these stories, we can totally jack it. Like, and I
No,
think
they killed it,
that's
man.
cool. Killed
They
killed
they
what?
they just they killed it. Oh, it's just thing like, oh, they killed it. They smashed it. You know they smashed it. Would
So that in the United States, killed it means are you saying it's good or bad? In the U.S., if somebody kills
oh, it's
something, like it's good, right?
it's good, bro. Like, killed it means like, oh, he definitely like he smashed it, man. Like, you know, you say smash the like button. Oh, he just, I don't know, man. We just like to we like to exaggerate with our words, bro. You know,
Yeah,
he
I totally get it.
let's say if I had a good game of a basketball game, some people say, "Oh, you killed it, man." You know,
Yep.
that's, I don't know if you guys say it, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we use the same. We use that same thing. Yeah, I feel like Australia is maybe the one place in the English speaking world where, um, our slang doesn't get to you guys. Your slang sometimes
Nah,
gets to us.
nah, nah. Yeah, without, even though we do watch a lot of American stuff, it never really takes over us. If I'm being honest with you,
Okay.
um, it's just it's just weird, man. Like, Australian people, even me, I'm not like, my slang isn't like, bro. If you think my accent is Australian now, you haven't heard a proper Australian, man. You haven't heard a proper Australian yet, man. I think I'm on the lighter end. Like,
Okay.
some of the Australians are like very extreme, bro. Like the way they speak, it may be hard to understand them, but yeah, we're very kicked back. The way we speak is very kicked back. You know,
Yeah,
our
I've
our
noticed
our
very casual.
our our conversations last for, on average, they last for like 2 seconds.
Okay.
They
I
last for which go, oh, how's it going, mate? Yeah, not too bad. Oh, that's good. Finished.
see that's
That's
interesting
so
because
simple.
the I have to imagine even in Australia it's realized, but like so in the United States, we have regions of our country, like you know New York and Texas and California are all just all vastly different cultures. So in New York, if I'm walking down the street and I see somebody that I don't know, if I say like hi to them, they're going to look at me like I'm a lunatic. Like, do not talk to me, stranger. Like, I've never met you in my life. Whereas,
That's
if I'm in
interesting.
like San Antonio or something, I am expected to carry on like a full 10 sentence conversation. Like, I'm going to be hearing about this dude's kids, like this person that I've never met before. So, I, I do think it's interesting that some of the different culture stuff.
It is.
Um,
Speaking of cultures, the Wheel of Time has a lot of cultures as well.
yes, it does. It was. I think that's actually one of the things that kind of drove some people crazy when they saw some of the. Oh no! Oh no! Stay
Oh
with
no,
me.
no, 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 I'm good. I'm good. My battery is exhausted.
Oh, are you on your phone?
No, my camera. I just forgot to put the charger on the camera, but you can still hear me, right?
Yep, I can hear you good. No, the
Okay, so for now, yeah, don't worry. Just give my timer to recharge back.
yep,
I guess.
all
Let me
good.
just.
I can talk to a while. I do it at work all the time.
Yeah, man.
Um,
As long as you guys can hear me, get the
yep,
close
we can hear you.
in. Okay, it should be back in a few minutes. So give it some time.
Cool. Yep. No, I think that was some of the criticism that this show got was everybody was the show decided to make the Emmons Field, or as they call it, the Two Rivers, look like freaking downtown London. And people were like, why would you do that? Like this series has like all sorts of like cultures and diversity sort of natural to the story. Like why did they make Emmons Field? They cast it the way they did. I think that was sort of something that confused some people and sort of sent off some alarm bells.
Okay. I didn't really get that vibe actually. Never really felt that to be honest. But uh, I guess in a way, we don't really see how different peoples are in different cities. I guess in that in that whole point, I do agree with you on that. Let's say I just don't get a sense of I don't know different cultures when we're changing locations. I guess it's very hard to do. To be honest, the Wheel of Time is just so freaking massive that you can't really perfect it in 8 seasons, in my opinion. It's pretty much asking for an impossible task. So I guess you can kind of understand that because cultural wise, it's if they focus on culture, like let's be honest, half like when Robert Jordan writes a chapter, two whole pages will be all descriptions on how people talk and how people walk and how their dresses are like everything. So
At,
I
at
guess the
least two
show
pages on the dresses.
yeah, literally how it's embroidered. That word, bro, embroidered is like in my head right now. Like, yeah.
That,
So I guess the show doesn't really have that going for it, to really work on. I guess if they tried a bit harder, they can make a difference. But I guess for that whole cultural part, you can kind of accept, any lack of perfection. So in that sort of way, I guess I'm okay with it. But it would have been better. But I mean, I'm really interested to see what they do with the Aiel people in season 2, man. That's gonna be very interesting what they do. Um, and yeah, like I said, I think it's fine, man. But I get what you're saying as well.
so I think a lot of people will point to something like the Lord of the Rings, where there was very little dialogue spent sort of giving us a difference between like Gondor and Rohan, but you knew immediately who was from Gondor and who was from Rohan, just sort of based on how they were dressed, what they looked like, that sort of thing. Like, what do you call that? Nonverbal storytelling. Um,
Mm,
and I think that's it would have been so easy to sort of make everybody from the Two Rivers kind of dressed in like sort of some heavy wool dresses and the like, and then Tarvalon and everybody's sort of dressed in you know nicer, you know you can see their calves as opposed to you know just sort of the non-visual storytelling stuff. I feel like was kind of lacking, and it was just sort of it's had the dialogue and the writing. It's the difference between a good show and a great show. Um, but when the dialogue is bad, it's one more thing to criticize.
Yeah,
The um, I think occasionally, the White Cloaks are too hard on the show because, I was talking to some of the guys in the chat. When you lose immersion in a show, and you just start sort of watching it because you're loyal to the franchise, um, it's very easy to nitpick. It's easy um, to get negative and sort of treat it like nothing is good enough.
mm.
So I don't know. That was just sort of one more thing that to us stuck out. Like there, the lack of cultures, and maybe the expectations are too high, but I don't know. It was just a thing that stuck out. I don't know. What are
Yeah. I think maybe the expectation for that maybe is probably a bit too high. I feel like what's sort of focusing on, let's say, how they dress and how they act from different towns. It's like I said, with the Wheel of Time has so much going on for itself. Like I feel like that's like one of the more least important stuff to worry about, in my opinion. But like I said, it depends though on different locations. For example, I think that'll be more important once they get to Tear. I think Tear is
Mhm.
a they have to get it right in Tear. They have to make it look like these people are suffering, man. They have to make sure that these people look I think locations like Tear is really important. Tear and the Idle Wastes are more important than compared to Tarvelin or the Two Rivers, man. I feel like Two Rivers kind of does matter because they are kind of excluded from everything else in Camelin. So I get what you're saying there. Tarvelin, I never honestly cared about Tarvelin. Even in the books, I never cared about Tarvelin. The whole culture. The only thing that matters about Tarvelin are the Aes Sedai and the White Tower. Everything else out of the White Tower, I just don't care, to be honest. But like I said, they have to get Tear right. Tear is like so crucial. I feel like even like Tanchico and Kyrian, I think are kind of more important as well
Mhm.
in their own sense. I feel like they're kind of similar as well. Like Tanchico and Tear, they're kind of similar. And then while Kyrian, it's like more no, it's like more it's like more, it gives me Westeros vibe from the Game of Thrones. That's what
Yep.
Kyrian gives me. So I think with those cities, it's more with the whole cultural part, it kind of is more important if they get those cities right. But then I feel like the start of the book, I kind of don't care. I feel like the start is just more how Rand, gets to the eye and all that stuff. But like I said, if they had chosen Kyrian, no, not Kyrian, Camelin, yes, Camelin would have been much more crucial. You have to see how people are like what's it called? How some people are wearing white, how some people are wearing red in support of the White Cloak, in support of the Queen, and so on. Like those stuff are more important, if that makes sense. Luckily, it's not as big of a deal because we are kind of in I feel like they did a good job with Shania though. You can tell you can tell who's from Shania, right? I feel like they've done a decent job there. But I feel like what's it called? From the Two Rivers to Shadow Logoth, not much really happened in terms of different locations, and yeah, I feel like that's just how I see it. But I definitely get what you're saying. I feel like this will become more relevant in the later seasons. I feel like this season they can kind of get away with it, but I think for now they're okay, but I'm interested to see what they do with the other locations, man. Cause bro, the Wheel of Time is massive, man. Have you seen the map? God damn, bro, so many stuff. The Sean Chan people, they have to get that right as well with the Sean Chan people. So there's a lot of cultures to nail in the future. Cause that's just the way I see it. I just see more cultures are more important and relevant compared to people in, let's say, the White Tower and perhaps the Two Rivers. Cause the way I see the Two Rivers, they're just more ordinary folks that doesn't really care about the rest of the world. So, but then the
Mhm.
other worlds, yeah, they definitely need to get the other cultures right.
I got you. No, it's a good call out. Let's see what else. What else haven't we talked about? Um, I don't know. You got any questions for the White Cloaks? I don't know. I feel like
Okay.
you're an up and coming YouTube channel.
Uh, sure. What? So When did you make did you make your YouTube channel after the TV show? Because if you're calling yourself the White Clerk, that means surely you made it after the TV shows.
So I don't know if you're were you familiar with any of the Reddit drama that happened with this show?
No, with me, bro, I keep off all any kind of drama, man. Even my personal life, man. I'm off any kind of drama, man. I'm drama free. I'm drama free,
So
mate.
it's
So what's
probably
going on?
probably the best way to live. So
100%,
there
man.
used to there used to be kind of two big um, Wheel of Time Reddits. And it was sort of as we discussed in the beginning. Everybody was really cool. Everybody was really friendly. There were just two really good Reddits talking about a fantasy series. Then sort of Amazon came in and they started up their um, their own Reddit for the show.
Yeah,
And then, but the thing about Amazon Reddits, and you'll notice this if you sort of go on the any of the Rings of Power stuff, um, it is a no criticism allowed subreddit. So you and I have had a really good discussion, like some of the pros and the cons of the show. Um,
yeah,
any of the negative things that you said about the show would have gotten you banned from there. Um, so, sort of as I don't want to say as a, sort of a separate group, sort of the White Cloaks Reddit got started. And it was sort of a place where there were no rules about, you could criticize the show, you could do whatever you want. Um, so some of the moderators then from the Amazon Reddit sort of snuck their way into the two book Reddits, and then they eventually ended up getting the White Cloaks subreddit banned off of Reddit, and so without sort of a Reddit to talk about about the show and about other stuff, the Discord got started, and as sort of part of the Discord, the YouTube channel sort of extended out of there. So, our main focus was kind of getting our numbers. We were a 7,000 person Discord at one point, um, or a 7,000 person Reddit at some point, and we kind of wanted to get those people back to the Discord and sort of get them onto the YouTube channel as well. So that's sort of how the YouTube channel got started. So I guess as a lesson for people, if you ever want to not deal with criticism, just leave people to their echo chambers and don't get rid of
yeah,
their echo chamber because then they leave. So
yeah. That's. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That sounds a bit unfortunate, man. But yeah, it's just stuff with the internet, man. You're always gonna get people who who takes pride in what they say because they're always gonna be behind a keyboard, man.
yep,
That's just how it is, man. You can just say anything you want, but people just feel like I can do whatever the hell I want because I'm behind a keyboard. But that's just the way I see it, man. That's why with the internet stuff, I try to stay off it, man. The only reason why, but like I said, man, I feel like that's with everything, man. I have a lot of hobbies, man. The Wheel of Time is just one of my few hobbies. Every other
mhm,
hobbies, you always have the same kind of people on the internet. Same. If I'm pretty, you watch sports, right? Do you
yeah,
watch sports or?
yep,
But how bad is it when it comes to sport, man? Like these key warriors on sport, it's bad. Like when it comes to like the debate on who's the better player, blah blah blah, it just gets so bad. Like if you don't agree with someone's opinion, that's blah. Same thing happens like what's it called in books and TV shows. Even like I don't know, man. I feel like the Wheel of Time though, it's a bit unfortunate, because I feel like before the show probably came out, the disagreements were probably okay because when I watch One Piece, right? Let's say
mhm,
If someone likes Sanji and someone hates Zoro, I was like, so you're a Sanji hater, you're a Zoro hater. Fair enough. That's just how it is, man. But the
yep,
Wheel of Time is different because you have one story. Because the One Piece, you have the manga and the anime are literally same thing. It's just the story getting animated from the manga. That's
yep,
the good thing about manga and anime, right? But the Wheel of Time is getting changed. That's where probably the hate comes in, right? The change and not the hate, my bad. how do I say this? The confliction comes between two different parties. The change probably it either probably just brings people so much discomfort because number one, I think another reason why, because probably the author Robert Jordan, rest in peace, he's probably not alive anymore. He has no control over the series. Maybe that
Mhm.
also may affect some other people's thoughts. I think people are bringing up the point that Robert Jordan will probably never like this, blah blah blah. But at the same time, people are also bringing up but his wife and Brandon Sanderson's also kind of in charge of the TV show, which Robert Jordan trusted a lot. See, there's two different points where it totally makes sense, but at the same time, yes, I guess some people just don't want to see that how 2 points kind of interlinks between each other, but then they're just cutting off that link and separating that link and creating war. That's just how it is, man. That's how us humans are, man. We just can't control it, man. We're always gonna go downhill from here onwards, man. That's just the way I see it, man. In terms of what's it called, coming together as one. Yes, our world is developing continuously, but being together, our togetherness is always going further and further away. It's mainly due to technology. My bad if I'm getting sidetracked a bit, but that's just the way
No,
I see it,
it's a good
man.
conversation.
That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good conversation. I guess I'm trying to think what trying to think. Are there any other good topics right now? Um, oh,
I mean,
what
we
are your
could talk
thoughts on
about
Rings of Power? Oh,
my
sorry, go
thoughts
ahead.
on
What are
Rings of
your
Power. No, we could talk about it later. My thoughts on Weeks in Power. Listen, I feel like it was 8 episodes, right?
yeah? There's 8 episodes.
Okay, that whole 8 episodes could have been condensed down into 2 episodes. I'm not even lying. I'm
Yep.
not even lying. It was so. If I thought the pacing in the Wheel of Time was bad, but this is so much. Nah, like with the Wheel of Time, at least. Actually, to be honest, Rings of Power, I wouldn't say I hate it. I'm just very disappointed with the Rings of Power. I just feel like it has so much more potential, man. It's just so slow. Like the story could have been good if it was just like I said, if everything just happened in 2 episodes. That's just my opinion, bro. I still think it's okay. I wouldn't say it's good. I think it's okay. I don't think the Rings of Power is as bad as some people say it is. Like, there's some things that brings like I think some of the castings are good. I think some of the visuals are good. Some of the music is good. With me, I'm a big sucker for music, man. So if the music's good, then you know. I don't know if you watched Naruto. Some of the story arcs in Naruto were questionable, but the reason why I love Naruto so much because of the music, which is so good. So I'm a big sucker for music, man. The music was really good. Yeah, that's just the way I see it, man. I just feel like there just seemed to be a lack of danger. The lack of danger was very bad in the Rings of Power, but overall, I thought it was okay. And hopefully, like I said, the same thing with the Wheel of Time. Pray the season 2 is good, and none of them comes close to the House of Dragons. I just have to get that out of the way. None of them comes close to the House of Dragons.
Which I think is fair. So I guess and actually I was having this conversation with some of the guys in the chat. Dempsey with a blistering hot take there. I'm not sure I agree with that, but
I've never actually watched Bleach. I've never watched Bleach. I'm planning to watch Bleach soon, but if you talk about music, it's Naruto. It has to be Naruto. One Piece is obviously better than Naruto, but Naruto definitely has better music. 100%, Naruto has better music.
uh, yeah. So I guess like you're a very positive guy. You
Yeah, I
don't
try to
seem
be.
to really, you don't seem to really be down on anything, and I think that's, um, we're kind of talking about sort of some of the disconnect between, um, sort of the positive and the negative fan bases, and I really don't think sort of after talking to you, I don't think there's that much of a difference in perception, as to what the show is, or at least I don't get that impression. Maybe you're just, atypical for somebody who sort of likes the show. But it almost seems to just be like a choice of mindset. Like you seem to like things, and I think the white cloaks seem to dislike things. Like half of us are ripping on House of the Dragon, and I'm kind of sitting here like, God, with House of the Dragon, we need to readjust our our standards for what's watchable. If we're maybe,
Yeah,
maybe the last episode maybe excluded. I thought that one was a little bit rough.
right.
Um, so I don't know. I think it's interesting. I don't think we're as far apart on a lot of these issues as sometimes it maybe seems like. Um, yeah, when you actually have a conversation face to face with somebody, it's kind of eye opening that maybe we're not so different after all as gay as that
No,
sounds.
because like I said, most of this hate comes from keyboards, Bren. When you actually
Yep.
face to face, the real what's it called? You're not gonna see someone's real self. Even right now, I don't know. I don't know who you are, man. Because that interaction, we're still like on two different side of the world, man. We need to have
Mhm.
a proper conversation face to face. This is still not enough, man. That's just how the world works nowadays, man. Everything became digital. Everything just became so much harder to it became harder to understand you know someone's story, someone's point of view, someone's thoughts. So if let's say you grew up in an environment, especially technology, there's always different communities and different upbringings in technology, where it's gonna kind of put an idea. It's like almost like inception, man. It's like putting an idea in your mind that you kind of have to live with that idea for the rest of your life. And then if someone does not replicate the same idea, that's it, man. That's where the conflict starts. And
Mhm.
like I said, when it's almost like having a boxing match when you're like face to face, you're getting your problems out, your whatever, and at the end of the day, it's all love, man. It's like, yeah, I understand you and whatever. It's just some people just don't want to understand that, man, which is kind of unfortunate, man. And thank you for your nice words, man. I really appreciate that, man. I try to be as accepting as I can, it's sometimes it's really hard for me to dislike things. Sometimes it really is hard for me. I
Mhm.
just feel like, I don't know, man, that's just the way that I don't know, I should live, man. uh just God made me the way I am. I try to make the most of every single day. You know, I'm just one person out of a billion person in this world, man. I need to understand this, keep myself humble, and try to stay accepting. That's the main thing. I feel like stay accepting, even though, if, like, I'll give you an example. I don't like a Gwen right now, but I'm open to like her in the future, if that makes sense. I
Uh,
feel like that's a decent example. I'm open to like her. I'm open to what's it called, to see the positives about her.
if Jonathan R might be in the chat, and he might disown me for this, but if you don't like Egwene now, I don't think you're going to like her later. Um,
Uh,
I mean the
okay. Listen, you can't like every single character of a show, right?
no
I'm pretty sure Robert
no
Jordan. Like, think about it. If you wrote a book, right? Do you want your readers to like every single characters that you wrote about? Of course not, man. Like,
see actually I think
as a, as
that's
a
that's that's the best defense of Egwene that I've ever heard is do we like Egwene? No. Do we know who Egwene is? Do we all know an Egwene? Like, is she very believable? And I think the answer to that is yes, that Egwene is extremely believable, even if, you know, she reminds me of, like one of my coworkers who's a fucking miserable piece of shit to work with. But in the chat, Dalia Dolly Awful says
Yeah, I
Egwene is a great
agree.
character
That's
but a
that's
terrible
such a good
person.
statement. That's almost like Leandrin in a way. Like, no one likes Leandrin, but Leandrin is a very good antagonist. You have to give her that, man. Same thing with like actually, I was gonna say Mogadin, but I low-key like Mogadin. I actually low-key like her a lot. I was gonna say, well, there's some characters that you just it's like Joffrey in a way, like Joffrey from Game
Mhm.
of Thrones. No one likes that guy, bro. No one likes him. But is he a good character? Of course he is, man. I'm not saying Egwene is Joffrey evil. She's
No,
more on
not
the
even close.
annoying. She's more on the annoying side than the evil side. She's
She,
definitely not evil,
she's Sansa.
but
She's Sansa. Sansa evil, not Joffrey evil.
yeah, she's such. Yeah, I actually see that a lot, man. She's Sansa in a way. And a lot of people like Sansa, so it's fine, man. It's almost like
Stupid
it's
people.
almost like I like chocolate. but I don't like vanilla, which is not true. I like both flavors, but someone else might like vanilla. Someone might else not like chocolate. Like, hey, is someone gonna hate on not liking chocolate? Come on, man. Come on. It's fine though. Like, it's fine. I think Egwene. Egwene. I actually agree. She's well written to have a good potential to potentially have a crazy redemption arc. So far, I feel like she's getting set out to have a crazy arc in the future, and that's completely fine as long as I can experience that through her annoyingness and to see her just come through. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. So, like I said, man, it's just I feel like it's a little annoying when someone doesn't like that I don't like their favorite characters or their favorite thing, which is fine, man. A lot of people didn't like Nynaeve apparently at the start, if I'm not mistaken, and that's actually and I'm not gonna lie, I can understand. I understand why a lot of people don't like Nynaeve because she's a lot to deal with. She's a lot to deal with, but that's just the kind of people I like, man. Someone who stands up to danger, man. She stood up to Moraine, like I said, and that got me from book one, man. So it's just different point of views, different ways of understanding, and it brings out good discussions if you can think like that. So just like you
Yeah,
and me, man, you're a show hater. I'm content with the show, and this stream has been going on for under 2 hours. There's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that, man.
I got you. Now, if you got a drop, I totally get it. I know it's a weekday in Australia already, right?
Yeah, I've got a day off today, so I'm like, I don't mind a Monday.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Um,
It's a Monday. You're correct. It's a Monday right now for me. It's a Sunday
yeah,
for you, yeah.
yeah, that's fine. I think the Packers lost, so I'm not feeling it. Um,
No, it's all good.
yeah,
By the way,
we
do you watch NBA? Do you watch the basketball?
yes, yep. I'm a big
Uh,
Milwaukee
I was
Bucks
gonna
fan.
that's the only American sport I follow, bro.
I got you. Who's
That's the only
who's your
American sport I
team?
follow. So I'm actually very new to the sport. I started following NBA in 2018, and at that time it was a troll, right? I was like to my friends, I'm gonna choose the worst team in the NBA. At that time it was Phoenix Suns, right? So I was like, I'm gonna
Ah,
be if I'm gonna go with the Phoenix Suns. Everyone was laughing at me, bro. I think last year we made it to like the finals and stuff. You have no idea how cocky I was. I was so arrogant and so cocky, and I was like to my friends, "Oh, you guys suck. You've never seen your team win like a championship." And look, I'm a fan for like 2 years, and I'm about to see my team win, and yeah, we just got humiliated. And
yeah,
now
you
and
guys
now
you guys lost to you lost to my team.
I got I got I got home. Oh yeah, in the finals. Yeah, you got from Milwaukee.
Yep.
To be honest, we never deserved to beat you guys. You guys was way too good. But last year against the Mavs, that was embarrassing, man. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, we similarly went out to the Celtics. I don't think either one of us were happy with how that went. Um,
Yeah, I don't know how you guys lost that, man. You guys would have destroyed the Warriors, man. 100%.
yeah,
You guys would
Middleton
have
was
won.
hurt. That hurt us.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was bad. He was crucial. He was
yeah,
crucial.
but it also didn't help that Jason Tatum started making 3 pointers from mid court with his eyes closed. It was just like,
That was
fuck it.
crazy. He was like banking heavy shots as well off the backcourt as well. I
Yeah,
was like, wow, do you
like
meant that and stuff? God damn.
yeah.
And then he just completely fell asleep in the finals. It's
Yep,
mad.
ran out of gas.
It is
So
what it is, man.
yeah. So I guess let's go back to episode 4 now. That since I got you here, I'm still a little bit like so. I'm going by memory here. The first scene in that episode, like the cold open, is like Logain just like walking through the Gillidan Castle, right?
Yeah.
So I guess when I watched that, I was sort of um, I'll just confess, I come into these things annoyed, and then I just kind of work my way backwards. But when I was watching that scene, I was thinking like, oh shit, we're about to see a like for the first time like a genuine male channeler just fuck some shit up. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you've seen have you seen Daredevil, that show?
I actually have not. I literally watched everything else um related to Marvel except for Daredevil and She-Hulk. I don't plan on watching She-Hulk, but those are the two series that I have not watched, unfortunately. I heard
Gotcha. How
Daredevil was
about
good though.
Daredevil? Daredevil is pretty damn good. How about you see Rogue One,
No,
Star Wars? No. Oh,
no. Star Wars is that's another franchise I have not watched, man. Yeah, I know,
okay.
bro.
Well,
I know. That's another
the
franchise I have not watched.
in that movie, there's a phenomenal scene where it is, you know who Darth Vader is, right?
Was it is it the guy with the black mask?
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, there's a phenomenal scene where he is. I mean, because he is an unstoppable truck, and there's like a bunch of soldiers that have to stop him from coming into the ship, and it's just he trucks through them. Like, I bet you I can find this scene for you to play it. Um, Sorry, give me a second here.
No, it's all good, man.
Um, I don't know if you can see and hear this. Oh, god damn it! I need to here. Um,
No, it's all
yeah,
good though. It's all good. It's fine.
okay, but anyway, there's a scene where he just, um, it's basically a male channeler in a long hallway with like 20 people whose only job is to stop him from advancing, and he tears through them. Like, it is an
Okay,
absolutely wild scene.
so it's like
And
you watched One Piece, right?
yeah,
Remember in Fishman Island where there was like 100,000 fishmen and the Luffy just decimated half of them just by using
yeah,
Kokuzaki?
yep.
It's like that, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, imagine that, but in like a 20-foot long by 3-foot hallway,
yeah.
and just
That's oh
uh,
damn, that's mad.
yeah, and he just so I guess that's what I was expecting when I saw Logain. I was expecting, oh my god, Logain is just a fox among the henhouse. Um, you know, w- nobody's going to be able to stop him. He's going to be eviscerating these people in like this glory scene,
Yeah.
and then it wasn't. He just sort of like
Walking, yeah.
yeah, it was. And I mean, I don't mind the walking. The walking is cool, but it's when he just sort of like stands there. He doesn't really kill anybody. He's just kind of a guy. And it just seemed like a huge miss.
I think everything was happening behind the scenes, to be honest, because we clearly saw that the whole town was like on fire and stuff.
Yeah, and
Definitely
that's
did some damage, but I guess it was all behind the scenes. So I guess it was kind of a miss and a hit. I don't know. It was. Yeah, I get what you mean, but at the same time, we didn't really see much of Logan in the book. Now, have we? We just knew that he was a force to be reckoned with. But
yeah,
yeah, it would have been
which is
cool.
yeah, which is one of like the one of the few things that I say I think the show did well is I think bringing in Logain early and kind of,
Oh,
because he was, I'm just gonna say it, he was the
he
best part of
was.
the season by far. Like,
Oh,
they,
you reckon? I'll say his top
uh,
three. I'll say his top three.
I guess
I, 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 I still have what's it called Nynaeve as my number one.
Nynaeve's
I'm
your
just
number one.
biased, man. I'm just
Okay.
biased. That's all.
See, my problem
But
with Nynaeve in this show is they didn't give us a reason for her chasing after them. in the
Truth.
books, it's
Yeah, you're right.
she
Cause
she
yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, because she got dragged by a trolley, right? And then she somehow tracked land. Yeah, yeah. That's see with Nynaeve, she definitely has problems. I'm just biased, man. I'm just
yeah,
biased. I'll
no,
be honest, man.
I
Like
gotcha.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest. Logain was probably like better. Like if from a normal from a neutral point of view. But since I'm biased, I'm gonna choose Nynaeve. Right? She's just my favorite character
All
because
good.
I still think she has some amazing moments, and that's probably took me to the top with her. But I still agree with you that Logan is definitely like up there, man. He was
Yep,
amazing. Yo, the actor killed it, bro. The actor
he
killed
did.
it, and he even looked like a Logan. He looked like a Logan. He even looked dangerous. Everything about him was good, man. But like I said, yeah, I
Mhm.
do agree with some of the stuff they decided to do with him that may have been a bit here and there, but that's okay. Like I said, I feel like you you guys remind me of a friend I have. He just finished The Eye of the World, and I watched the first episode with him. I think 2 days ago, and he was so critical, man. He just wants. He had so much expectations. He had so much. Uh, you see, it's just different ways of seeing it. If you expect the show to be exactly like how you want it to be in your head, then you're most likely going to be disappointed. However, if you're kind of putting down that expectations aside, then you might have a good time. So yeah, I'm in the middle. I had expectations, and at the same time, I also kind of tried to understand what they were trying to do with it. So I guess I'm somewhat in the middle. So that's why I don't love the show. I don't hate the show. I just think I'm kind of towards on the positive side. So that's why I'd say it's good. It's not average. It's good. That's just the way I see it. I do understand why you hate it. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I can hear you guys. I can hear you guys saying which parts are not good and which part maybe this and that. I hear you guys and I understand it. So that's fine. It's just like I said, if you have expectations, then you're probably gonna be disappointed. Man. That's like with everything else, man. Expectations. It's just how it is, man. And there's
Dude,
nothing wrong with having
that,
expectations with yours. Yeah, go on, go
I
on.
would say that might be the most black pill thing I've ever heard you say. Like, if you don't expect anything, you can never be disappointed.
If
I
you,
know that's not
yeah,
what you were
yeah.
trying to. I know that's not what you were trying to say, but the way it
In
came
a
out
way,
cracked me up.
in a way, I guess. You
The
know, say that, man. If you don't
Yeah,
expect any, it's like what's. Have you watched the new Spider-Man movie?
yeah,
It's like what Mary Jane says, man. Expect disappointment, and you'll never be disappointed.
right. I didn't expect that to be coming from you. That seems like a kind of like a black pill attitude. I thought, but I don't know. I think it's an interesting point of view, and I think it helps. However, um, there's a show like The Witcher. Like The Witcher did not. I did not expect that out of like season one of The Witcher. Um, but I didn't dislike it. I think I don't know. I think this one had problems sort of outside of the expectations, though. There's certainly the expectations didn't help. I think you're absolutely right there. Um,
Did you read the books of the Witches by any chance?
yes, I did, and
Okay.
so the complaints that I have about the Wheel of Time in many ways are the opposite of The Witcher. Like because the first Witcher book is it's a series of short stories, and they're not really in order. It's just sort of a bunch of
Ah,
stories.
okay.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
when I watched the first season of The Witcher and they did the book, I was like, why did you do the book? The book doesn't make sense. Like it's not a story. It's a series of stories that don't really connect. Like this is the show that you should have made the changes and you should have told like a long cohesive story, and like they even told it like out of order. Like they didn't even bother to take the short stories and like put them in chronological order. It went like 17352 if you were watching the show, and it was I guess that was sort of what caught me off guard about The Witcher. I don't know. Did you watch that one?
I did not watch The Witches, but I heard it was decent. But from what you have said, I guess it depends how a book is written. Like, have you heard how Fire and Blood by George R. R. Martin is written as an history book? Have you heard
Yep.
about that? I don't know if you read it. So I guess in that way, the show has more control in what they can do because it's historical, man. That's not. It's not. It's like you never know what actually happens. So that way the show has more control over it. And the Wheel of Time is not written like that. So in a way, you said The Witch is written in short stories. I guess the show also has some way of controlling on what they do. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that's why it's easier to like the show with those specific series. While the Wheel of Time is very um descriptive. It's very that's one big problem. The Wheel of Time is very descriptive, man. Everything has to be pinpoint everything like this and that. The dressing, the cultures, the attitude, everything. It's just described, man. Like it's I'm actually surprised I even managed to get this far, man. Because if you saw me my state 2 years ago, man, I couldn't even read Harry Potter, man. I don't know how I'm reading the whole time right now. That's just how descriptive the story is, man. And for that to be transformed into a TV show is a very, very difficult job. Very difficult. Like it's impossible to perfect it. Not even perfect it. It's impossible to make it 80% or 70% of what the books are. That's
Yep.
just the way I see it. Like you mentioned before, if it was an animated series, yes, it would have been better. They have way more control, man. But from what they have, 8 seasons to it's just not enough, man.
Yep. I think the time issue is an interesting one in the sense that like I think that's why a lot of people didn't like episodes 4, 5, and 6 because it was like, okay, you told us you couldn't do the fun things in episodes 1, 2, and 3 that we wanted to see because you didn't have time, and then you spent 4, 5, and 6 on suicidal water. Like, why did you do that? That's not good. But I don't know. I think it's I think the science and the art of adaptation is an interesting one that we're seeing a lot of because nothing is we're not getting anything new anymore. We're only getting adaptations.
Yeah.
So you said you're a big Marvel guy, right?
Uh, I wouldn't say I'm like the biggest fan, but I like it. I like football. Like I said, man, I've got hobbies, man. I think with me,
Okay.
I'm more into sports. I'm more into sports, man. But I do like and sports and anime. I love sports and anime. But I do love my Marvel, man. There's some movies that I love. Some movies I think, yeah. So what was your question, man? What do you want to talk about Marvel?
I guess the ultimate Marvel question at the moment seems to be is the magic gone? Um,
The
is there
magic.
anything left in the tank after Avengers
Oh,
Endgame?
okay. I see what you mean. To be honest, I think ever since Marvel got handed over to Disney, it feels more childish, man. If I'm being honest with you, it doesn't really feel serious anymore to me. Um, they can be. They just have to rebuild. They just have to rebuild. If I'm being honest with you, just like what they did with Iron Man 1, they just have to rebuild just like that, man. And maybe 10 years from now we'll get a massive few movies, man. So they just have to work on some of these new superheroes, give them more time, see what they're like. I really like Shang-Chi. I think that was a pretty good movie. Shang-Chi was a pretty good movie. The Eternals sucked, but I think they have a lot of potential. Like if they worked on Eternals more, they probably can make it good. After Marvel, man, like I said, man, getting rid of Iron Man, Captain America, who else was gone? I think that those are the big ones, right?
Black
Iron
Widow.
Man, bro. Iron Man he was always my favorite character, man. I think Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie is still my top three movies in Marvel, man. I love the first Iron Man movies,
It's a
and
phenomenal one.
so good. I'm also really big on the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I love that movie, man.
Yep.
And I'm actually very, very interested to see what they're gonna do with Volume 3 because they killed off who was it again? The Green Girl. They killed off the Green Girl in Avengers, right?
Yeah, they killed off Gamora and then they brought her back, but
Gamora.
not real Gamora, fake Gamora,
So
like
yeah,
from a
I'm
different
interested.
timeline.
Yeah, so yeah, but will that Gamora still exist though? Like, wouldn't that make her non-existent or something? Because we didn't see Gamora in the new Hulk movie. Have you noticed that?
You mean the new Thor movie?
Oh, so yeah, my bad. Yeah, the new Thor movie. The new Thor movie.
So I have not seen that one yet.
Oh, my bad,
so,
my bad.
Thor, well, no, Thor is my favorite character, and
Okay.
um, the they did bad things to that guy, and I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if I
I
can
agree. I
bring
agree.
myself to witness that in person. Um,
Thor. Yeah, if you did you like Thor 3? Thor.
I
Did you
like
like the
Thor
third movie?
Ragnarok.
It's
Um,
very similar to Ragnarok in terms of like how comedic it is. It's very similar, but I just felt like Ragnarok felt more epic and more longer. Love and Thunder was very short. It was very short, and some of yeah, it was not my favorite Marvel movie. I just thought it was okay. And like I said, I think in whatever Thor movie's in, he's always going to be a good character. Like, Chris Hemsworth really made it his own character. He's a really good character. I like Thor. And Thor was really
yep,
good in the. Oh my god, he was so good in Infinity War when he came
yep,
out. He came from space and shit. That was
yep,
mad. Oh, that was
yep.
mad. He was really good.
Yeah,
But I think Iron
big fan of
Man.
that.
But like I said, I think I kind of see what you're saying. I think the magic is slowly diminishing. It doesn't feel as grand, as epic. It doesn't. It feels more childish. It doesn't feel that serious anymore. But with what they did with the new Spider-Man movie, I felt proper emotions, man. It was I maybe they are going the right directions. It's just with
Spider-Man has Sony put with some control over it.
you.
That's the issue, is that
You've
it's
got a point. Yeah.
Disney can't make a good superhero thing. Sony can't make a good superhero thing. But when you force them to work together, they seem to be able to make good stuff again. And I don't know how to explain that other than like that's what it seems like it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Spider-Man. Yeah, man.
yeah,
that movie was crazy, man. It was
yeah.
crazy. Tom
Dog.
Holland. I think all of them are great, man. I think all of them are great. I think Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and all what's that again? Tobey Maguire. I think they're all great. A
Yep.
lot of people didn't like the Amazing Spider-Man, but yeah, in a way, it's not. I feel like the antagonists in the Amazing Spider-Man were not good, but
No.
I think Andrew Garfield was still phenomenal. Regardless, he is probably the best Spider-Man out of all of them. Like I'm talking about Spider-Man when he has a costume, like the costume on. No, Spider-Man or Peter Parker. He's the best Peter Parker, I think. Like he's the best Peter Parker. Yeah, I think he's the best. He's the most realistic Peter Parker,
I got you.
alongside with Tom Holland. But Tobey
My thing
Maguire just
about
iconic. To be honest, they're
my
all
thing
good.
about
They're all good. They're all good.
they're all good. My thing
Yeah, they're all good.
about the Andrew Garfield ones is like I remember I went and saw what was the movie? Um, it was a movie where Emma Stone was a teacher who was like sleeping with a principal or something. I think it was like Easy A.
Oh,
And it was like
Easy A. Yeah, Easy A.
yeah,
I remember
and
that movie.
so they were like, okay, well Emma Stone is a like 35-year-old teacher in this movie. Okay, but in the next movie, I need you to pretend that she's 17 and in high school. And I'm sitting here like,
Yeah.
Toby Maguire or Andrew Garfield's like 27. Like this kid is not 18, and Emma Stone is fucking 40. Like,
Emma Stone was a pretty good Gwen Stacy though. You can't lie though. She was a pretty good
I mean,
Gwen Stacy.
she was a fine Gwen Stacy, but it was like
Well, that's pretty funny.
she was too old.
That was
But
pretty funny.
yeah, I don't know. Um, I liked Ultimate Spider-Man the comics a lot, and I liked punk rocker Gwen Stacy more than I liked scientist Gwen Stacy. But
I've never read the
anyway,
comics, man. I've never read the comics, so I wouldn't know. I feel like
so
every single Spider-Man's good, man. Spider-Man is like one of the few franchises that's it's probably the best superhero franchise. Marvel,
it's certain.
if you talk about Marvel, because freaking Batman just destroys everything. Batman destroys everything, man. In my opinion.
I mean, I guess I try and think back. Like, if we go through the Batman movies, um, the Batman was good. Um,
The Dark Knight was just legendary.
yeah, the Dark Knight was good. Batman Begins was good. The Dark Knight Returns, I was not in love with. I
Listen,
want
the
to say
Dark Knight
that.
Returns. I feel the Dark Knight Return gets a lot of hate because of how good the Dark Knight was. It's still a good movie. It's just not as good as the Dark Knight, you know. But well, if you compare the Dark Knight Returns to a normal movie, it's just you can see its quality, man. That's just the way I see it. I think a lot of people just had so much expectations because of how good the Dark Knight was, but I feel like it's still a good movie, man.
That may be. The a doll in the chat brings up a good point. The end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he almost saves Gwen. I
Oh,
remember
but that was heartbreaking.
I remember sitting next
Ah,
to my dad. I remember
hurt
sitting
my
next to my
soul.
dad in the theater, and I knew the end of that comic. Or I knew what was happening because I read the comic.
Yeah.
And like when he realized that she died, he was like, "What the fuck? That's not how superhero movies end. Like, you that's not how that works." And I'm like, sorry, that's how that one went. Um,
Nah, even me, I didn't expect so because he managed to what's it called get Gwen with his web, right? But
mm,
bro, he literally broke her entire back. Oh, it was brutal, man. It was brutal and heartbreaking at the same time. I just didn't want to believe it, man. Because superhero movies, like everything goes the right way for the girl and the superhero, right? But nah, this was
mm,
completely. It was just not normal compared to other superhero movies. It was good story, heartbreaking at the same time. Oh my, I was so heartbroken. I was heartbroken, man. I was so good. That was so bad. So
absolutely.
bad and so good at the same time.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Um, well, shit, man, we're getting close to 2.5 hours. I'm sure you got stuff going on today. Um, anything
Yeah, yeah, all
anything
good, man.
coming up you want to plug?
Um, I guess. Oh, now that I've got my whole setups all set up, I guess I'll be recording my next review of the Fires of Heaven. Hopefully, drop it tonight. So if you guys aren't aware, I do read The Wheel of Time. I'm a first-time reader. Currently on the Fires of Heaven, almost done. I do my reviews very differently. Like I try to do parts. Let's say first few chapters. They're very long as well. They're very long. So my apologies for that in advance. Like 10 chapters, it'll take me half an hour to talk about. So if you're into that, if you want a very extensive review, each book reviews probably like what? If you total that together, like more than 2 hours. Like the Shadow Rising, you see the Shadow Rising, they're like all over 1 hour long, man. It's mad. So if
Bro,
you, you know, so you can subscribe and
yeah,
follow along my journey.
I tell you what,
And yeah,
our audience is kind of trained for long form content. We spend about 4.5 hours going through each episode a week, so they like it long.
I'm t-
Um,
I'm telling you guys, the Wheel of Time is the only book series that I'm gonna make content like this. After I'm done with the Wheel of Time series, you'll never see me making content like this ever again. Because boy, this is draining, so draining. Because I think most people on YouTube who cover books in general, they just do book by book, if that makes
mm,
sense. They just if they finish a book, they'll make the review on the whole book. I just find it hard to do that with the Wheel of Time. Just so much things to talk about. So I'm telling you guys, this is the only time I'm gonna do this. The only time. I'm never doing this ever again. Never, never. So if you're into that, it'll take us a long time to finish the book. So I guess we're in for a long run. So it's fine.
yeah,
It's good to know that you guys have a
you
few
got about
months.
another year, I think. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
it
good.
depends what I do.
That's good.
It's interesting to see that most Wheel of Time fans have a long span of attention. Like you guys stay along for a long time to watch these mad long videos. So appreciate that, guys. So yeah, hopefully see you guys soon.
Awesome. Yeah, we tell you what, man, I really enjoyed this conversation. If if we get some more content going for Wheel of Time, I definitely love to have you back to maybe break down some at some point. Yeah,
Oh, for
we go
sure,
through
man.
our yeah we go through. We're almost done with our rewatch of the first season, so it's
For sure, man.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. I'll continue to represent Team Positive Will of Time. I will fight these white cloaks until my last breath. I will give you my word.
Snoozy's gonna be pairing. Um, so
If you guys think you guys can convert me into white cloak, you're wrong. You guys are wrong.
uh, I don't know
Uh,
about that.
nah.
You haven't sat through one of our full episode breakdowns yet, but I don't know. You seem like you might be a tough nut to crack. You're a positive guy. So
Nah,
all
yeah,
right,
man.
it just occurred to me that I can't actually end this until Pips closes it. So I uh, probably be sticking around. So you know. Uh, we're here to keep bullshitting if you want. If not, feel free to go about your day.
What's the time now? It's 10. I can stay for another 10 minutes. Oh, good. Just give me a heads up when you're gonna end the stream.
All right, cool.
Actually, wait. Before
Pips, I think is
let's talk about
probably
season two, man. What's your
okay.
expectations on season two? What like you
Uh,
said you didn't like
it
season
depends.
one. What do you want to be improved on season one, and what do you want to see in season two?
So season one, they basically, or I'm sorry. Okay, so season two, they basically need to ignore in season one with Parent. Just pretend none
Yeah,
of it happened and just start over. Um, they basically need to do the same thing with Matt. Um, there's nothing that you can take from season one that's going to contribute positively to the story. Um,
right.
Rand needs to immediately establish himself as having a set and being competent and dangerous. Because I don't think I can go through another season with a limp wrist protagonist. Um,
I mean, they have to give Rand way more time because book two is literally everything old Rand, man. And it's like
yep.
Rand's main job is to get to the calendar, and they have to. I've seen some shots from the teaser, and I think Rand looks like he might get a good arc. That's all. Oh, how about what's it called? Are you looking forward to what's it called? Egwene with the Sean Chun and stuff?
So here's my problem with that. I'm, I would like that to happen. I don't think this show is brave enough or bold enough to do kind of that story in a kind of non-abridged way. Um, I think they like Egwene too much to put her through anything sort of seriously long-lasting and traumatizing. Um, I would love for them to prove me wrong. I would love for them to really put Egwene through it this season and not have her kind of win out with a sort of girl boss moment. Um, there's nothing that I've seen from this show that makes me think um, they have the guts to have any sort of long lasting character development consequences for anything. Um,
Right.
so
No, listen. s- With pain and suffering, that builds character, not just in shows, but in real life as well. You have to experience pain, any kind of pain, to develop yourself and become stronger. So it would be very dumb for them to not do that to Egwene. You have to make Egwene suffer to make her the strong person she is. That's just, if they don't do it, that's dumb. I'm not saying make Egwene suffer. Like, come on, man. If some people are gonna take my word like that, oh, you want Egwene to suffer, why would you do that? Like, shut up, man. Come on, man. You need to build character. You need to build You need to show, like I said, experience takes you far. If you go into a job interview, what are they going to look for? Your education degree, everything. No, they're going to look for your experience. Everything in life is experience, man. And I feel like pain and trauma is one of the strongest experiences anyone can have. Egwene had one of the hardest experience in the
Yep.
books as of yet. If
Yep.
they don't do that, it's stupid. It's dumb. I will officially become a white cloak if that doesn't happen. I'll give my word. I
So
give my
I think
word.
briefly,
Yeah.
like I, because the
Briefly.
thing about it, yeah, well, like we were talking about how Egwene is a great character, but not necessarily an enjoyable person. Like the
Yeah.
reason that she is an enjoyable character is you can look at everything she does through this like lens of like, okay, Egwene is an extraordinarily traumatized 17-year-old girl who has tremendous fear about um, ever being held hostage or not being in control again. It's only through that lens that any of her behavior becomes remotely acceptable. Um,
Mm.
so I guess I, I fully expect her to be captured and out over the course of an episode and a half.
Mm.
Um,
I I mean, what Eamon Valda did to Egwene was kind of extreme in a way. So hopefully the show has some balls to, you know, make make that make the experience really bad for Egwene. By no means am I saying that she deserves it in a way. It's just what happens in the books, and that's what builds some character into Egwene, and that's what also made Egwene that's what makes Egwene a good character. I think in any fictional story, character that goes through pain comes back from it. It's just very admirable. Very it's good storytelling in general. I think that's they have to do it. Just just make it impactful. I hopefully they make it impactful, man.
yep, and that's you talk about the Valda scene, and I think that's part of the reason that I'm so down on it. Why I don't think they have the guts to do it is they bounced her out of there in what half an episode. Like, I mean, and Perrin was the one that was getting all the abuse for it. Um, like, good grief, man! They couldn't even let Perrin rescue her. She had to rescue herself. I was like, come on, guys! Like, give Perrin fucking something. Like, you took away him fighting
Yeah.
and killing the White Cloaks. You took away him like, you know, in custody with the White Cloaks. You took away every battle scene that he was in. Jesus Christ, man! Perrin used his axe. The first time Perrin used his axe, he killed his wife, and he didn't pick it up again. The entire. That's not true. He picked up an axe in the finale, brandished it at Padden Fane, and then quickly gave up.
Yeah, parents suffered a lot, man. Unfortunately, let's again, man. Season
Give
two,
it a
man.
shot.
Season two.
Yep.
Season
Fingers
two.
crossed.
What about Lanfear?
Uh,
You reckon we're gonna see Lanfear
I
or
do
Celine?
terrified about that as well. Uh, um, yeah.
That's a massive character, man. That's a massive character to cast. She's she's like she's massive, man. She's like probably one of the biggest antagonists in the whole show, man. So they have to get it right. Like I said, I think I've said this multiple times. Good stories have good antagonists.
Absolutely.
Peyton Fane so
Absolutely.
far, I think he's okay, and I think he's pretty good. So far they got that out of the way. Cause in my opinion, he is one of my. They're going.
What's up, Mike? My issue with Padden Fane is Padden Fane shows up once for 45 seconds and then leaves.
Yeah. Peyton Fane,
Like, I mean,
he's so good, but then the problem is the show made it so obvious that he's evil from the start. Like see, this is where Baelon was so freaking crucial, man. In Baelon, came across Peyton Fane, right? And then he was like, "Oh,
yep,
Peyton Fane, you're here. Oh, you should definitely come to my inn because that's where Moraine has us hostage, whatever." And what happens next? A Myrddril comes in, so
yep,
that would have been so much more cool, man. Oh, Baelon was such an underrated story arc that no one
absolutely.
talks about and needs to be more appreciated, but we jump straight to Tarvelen after Shadow Logoth. So yeah,
Yeah, we skipped
we
Barrelon, we
skip
skipped
both.
Camelin.
the Four
Yeah,
Kings.
yep, that was rough. That
So I think Pen and Fane, they could have done so much more with his character. Like I said, with me, I guessed that he was a dark friend after Belon happened. That was a pretty
mhm.
good. That was a pretty good prediction, if you ask me, man. I
Yep,
I guess
it's
he
a
was a
good
dark friend
call out.
after that. And what's it called? I didn't guess he was a dark friend after the Two Rivers. That's where the
Mhm.
show kind of made it obvious because he was literally smiling. He was leaning
Yeah, he
up
was sitting there
after Twilight
watching them
Princess.
eating an apple. Like, come on,
Literally, yeah. I thought if they just made him look more, and plus Pen and Frame looked so fresh throughout the whole entire series. He didn't look. He was like clean. He didn't seem affected. In the books, he was going through hell. He looked
right?
crazy. So I think that's not Pen and Fen is not the only character that suffer from this. A lot of characters that just look like they came out of a bath, man. They just look like their freaking mums gave them a nice shower and they're just ready to take on the world. Like, come on, man. Season two, man. Everything season two. Stay positive, man.
Yep.
But I think overall Pen and Fen was still okay. He wasn't bad. He was just okay.
Patton Fane was rescued by his actor. It,
Yeah, yeah.
without without him, that character could have been bad. Um,
Bro, the casting was so perfect for Peyton Finn. I think out of everyone, they got that casting perfection, mate. That casting was perfection.
yep. I didn't mind the casting of Patton Fane, and I thought that was people talk about like, okay, like, where are you going to inject your diversity? I thought Patton Fane was a great place to inject diversity. He doesn't have a regional affiliation, so it doesn't it's not Rings of Power where we have 99 white elves and then we have a Rondir hanging out. I'm just like, I have so many questions about you, Rondir. How did you get here? Um, whereas I think Fane made sense, and I think the Shinarans I think made a lot of sense when it comes to that. Um, I guess let's see. You worried about Moraine? Because I'm worried about Moraine.
Are you
With her not
worried?
with her, because she's not in the second. Well, she's in the second book, but she's functionally absent from the second book.
She's yeah. I think she becomes more relevant in book five, to be honest. Maybe
Yeah,
since the first book. So, and then see, this is why I felt like Moraine was making her the main character was a bit controversial. Because if you made Moraine the main character in the first season, you're not gonna see her for the next two seasons, man. So that's why I feel like Rand should have been the main character. Just go through Rand's story, even if that's not the best, just do it. It'll make more sense in the later seasons. Moraine, but overall, I think Moraine's performance was decent, bro. Like she wasn't bad. Yeah, you can make arguments about the ageless and look about the Aes Sedai, but I guess that's one part where we can kind of overlook. Because my friend, he was like, why is Moraine so old? That's the first thing he asked me. She was like, well, why is she old? I thought she looked younger. Well, I'm like, come on, man, just allow it, man. Even Leandrin, she looks freaking old as hell. The Armelin Seed looks so old. Like they don't,
yep.
like they look so old. But I guess that's one thing I can look past. That's one thing because to be honest, even if they do look old, they still look powerful. So that's nothing I'm concerned about. As long as they look powerful and they look like a force to be reckoned with, that's fine for me. So Moraine, I guess I get what you're saying. A lot of people will have her as their favorite characters after watching season one, and for her not to it's like what you said about Crossroads of Twilight, right? How every side character just got the point of views or something like that, and people just got pissed off about that. Maybe people might have the same experience with Moraine not being present in the next few seasons, and then they have to deal with other characters. Maybe
That's
the other
that's what
characters might win them over. So
that's what I'm terrified about. Is I don't think this show has the guts to remove Moraine. So I think they're going to have to give Moraine a bunch of made up stuff to do. And I think as we've seen with Steppen, the show does not do well when it has to come up with its own things.
you're right. Yeah, you got and Moraine is a massive actor. I think she gets paid the most out of everyone. So
She's an executive
not Moraine,
producer, Rosamund
Not
Pike.
Rosamund Pike. That's her.
Yep.
So Yeah, you've got a good point there. Maybe we might. Actually, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to. I don't want to think too much about it, man. Because then I'm gonna start having. Then I'm gonna start having expectations, bro.
You're not season 2 prediction video sometime soon.
Nah, not really, man. To be honest with me, with my videos, bro, that's just all book related stuff. To be honest, well, whatever
That's
works
good.
works. Maybe I might. Actually, no. You know what? That's not a bad. That's not a bad video idea, to be honest. I might consider it. To be honest, I might consider it. A season 2 prediction. Yeah. Right. I'll consider it.
Cool.
Thanks for that, man.
Just
Thanks for
yeah,
that.
just a thought. I don't know. Now that your audience is reading the books again, they might not love the show so much, but maybe they like both. But I don't know. I think it's
I think with my audience, they're both they're 50-50, I reckon. So, but I think all my audience, they're all different when it comes to the show. They either love it or hate it. So,
I got you.
but luckily for me, I'm only covering the book, so I don't really get much slack from it. So that's okay.
There you go. Cool. Pips is yep. You ready to call this one?
Easy.
Cool.
Yeah, man. 2 hours and 40 minutes, man. That's mad. Mad.
Yeah. It's a good conversation. I enjoyed it. Thanks. Thank you to everybody in the chat as well. And if anybody hasn't subscribed to Snoozy, he's got some excellent book content. So I think the White Cloaks, the book cloaks, will enjoy this one. So yep.
For
Pips,
all
go
you
ahead
book
and
cloaks, man. Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
yep. All right.
Walking
Well,
the light.
everybody. Yep. In
Pips,
that case, walk in the light.